Not good. I just lost all my tabs.
All right. Josh, how are you doing?
I got tabs. I'm good.
You don't sound so good.
No, I sound terrible. But
Sounds awful.
Are you sick?
I'm here.
Are you sleepy?
I got the allergies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It really came out yesterday because of how nice it was. And everybody realized that outside existed again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, bang, you get smashed by those allergies.
We all forgot that outside existed.
Seriously, dude, we had the window open up there, and I was like, I'm hot.
What is a sensation?
It's too hot right now.
My dad jinxed me because the last time he was in my car, he's like, I've had this car for 11 years and it's incredible. The air conditioning still works. You can always rely on it. And yesterday, when it was a little hot, I turned on the AC and it was blaring hot air at me the entire time.
Oh, no.
And so my air conditioning.
You think it's broken?
It's for sure broken. And I was sweating yesterday.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
All right.
Yeah, what do you mean am I sure? I'm putting my hand on the AC unit and it's blowing out hot air.
Did you give it another try? Did you give it a little kick or something?
You can't kick the AC unit.
I don't know. What you could maybe, go in there, open up the hood, take a look, see what's going on.
You think I am the type of guy that would open up the hood and take a look at the car?
I'm just asking, is it at all possible?
So.
Okay, I would open it up and take a look at the car to look cool, not to actually fix anything.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the question. The
Yeah,
question
that's
is,
good.
do I look like the type of guy that would open up the?
I think
the answer is yes.
Yeah, I definitely would. Like a little lady would be like, "Oh, I'm having trouble with my car."
Sure, let me help you.
And I'd open it up and I do the thing where you put the arm over, and you're looking at it. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about the car.
Nice.
I'm not.
So you think? Would you agree that it is at least possible that your AC does work?
No, it's not. It's. I was in the car for an hour yesterday.
I know it currently doesn't work, but I'm saying like maybe it just needs a little. Like it doesn't need a full fix replacement.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no. I have no idea. Someone says check the coolant. I have to bring my car in for service anyway.
I know very little about the car, but your coolant levels could just be low.
Have you heard about your coolant?
I know about the coolant. Yes.
Do you regularly get this car looked at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week is my 6 to 8 month checkup, so that's where I have to go. It's like $135 to change the oil last time. It was ridiculous.
That's some pretty good oil.
I got to get the full.
You going to the wrong place? I got the oil change this weekend.
No, you got the fancy car.
$65.
So you have to pay more money because of it.
Exactly.
But the nice thing is I love my mailbox because I get a lot of deals in my mailbox and coupons.
Do you like receiving coupons in the mail?
I love receiving coupons.
This is interesting.
So I received a coupon in the mail of $25 off your next oil change.
I felt like for a long time when I used to do that, where I would go to the Valvoline or the Jiffy Lube or whatever, they would send you the coupons immediately after your most recent visit, so the coupons would be expired by the next time you have to go. Yeah. And I was always so mad at them for that.
That's so dumb.
That may have happened once or twice, and I was like, I'm
pretty mad.
How dare you? Much like your dad and Ryan Poles, who's still mad at him for the Chase Claypool trade.
My dad, and he may or may not be listening to this. I love him. I love him. He's one of my best friends. All right, seriously. He is the type of sport fan I don't like. He just
bad take. I think I love him.
He just
huge fan.
He just grabs on to singular mistakes and he will never let them go. Cole Kmet has been a pretty reliable tight end for basically his entire career for the Chicago Bears. He fumbled 3 times in his first 8 games. I don't think he's fumbled in 3 years. My dad would be gotta be aware of Kmet. He's a fumbler. He will
Once
not.
you see it, you can't unsee it, Matt.
He will not let go of the Chase Claypool trade. My dad will not let Ryan Poles hear the end of how bad that trade was. Calls him Ryan Claypool Poles.
That's incredible.
That's anytime Poles makes any sort of decision, good or bad, he'll be like, hey, Ryan Claypool Poles has really surprised me. That's a really good move. Or he'll make a bad move and be like, Claypool! He did the Claypool thing again.
It's pretty funny.
He won't let it down.
I find it very funny.
I left my phone at my desk. I wish I had it because I could literally look up the word Claypool and read you multiple texts that he has sent us.
Funny that you left your phone at your desk.
16 years ago, Bryce Harper got ejected from the JUCO World Series, and I still hold it against
True.
him.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes.
He just can't give it up. He
Not a
just
team guy.
He won't let go of the rope when it comes to Ryan Poles. It does not matter what he does, and it's just like a bunch of other stuff as well. I think I get the whole like sometimes Matt will see something only one time and then make like a very like general assessment on it. I get it from him. That's what he does all the time, though. Not a bit. That's his bit, I guess.
So you're saying that you don't like this about him, yet you do it?
I think I've fallen victim to being around it. And
it's not his fault. This is your fault.
No, I just
don't blame your dad for your takes.
Hereditary.
This is ridiculous.
You bring him up, you run him through the mud, and then you admit you're just like him. But then it's his fault.
I think that his bad take sphere is contagious, and I think that I've gotten a case of the bad takies from him because he's got a lot of bad takes.
This generation, man, gotta get some ownership. You gotta just say, you know what? That's
always someone else's fault.
The one thing that he has made some really good takes on, and I don't mean to this is the truth. He's been pretty spot on with Nebraska football.
I thought you were going to say something very different.
No.
Just by the smile on your face, I thought you were going to talk about
I didn't think we were staying in sports.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I thought you were going to talk about a certain case of files.
No. He's not into that at all. He's not that guy.
All right.
Well, I mean, he is that guy, but he's not into
a variety of levels.
Well, he's not into the files. He is that guy. There's a certain news station that's always on in our house. But anyway.
Nice.
He looked at Dylan Raiola like this year, and he called me. He goes, "Not the guy." And this
was he right?
Yeah,
he was.
He goes, "This is not the guy."
Sometimes when you know, you know.
He's just like something about him, just not him, not the guy. It was after the Michigan State game. I was like, he won the game. He did that great ball. He goes, not the guy.
He was definitely not good in that game.
No. Well, he did throw that one ball to Ja'Cory in the third quarter. Touchdown. That was a pretty good throw. When he had the wind. Do you remember the wind?
I remember the wind.
That was the
people forget the Memorial Stadium's like wind tunnel sometimes.
People forget that was an extended play. He rolled out to his right, got the ball to
Shout out to Tony.
Look at that, Dana Holgerson. It has happened before.
I feel like we're doing a little bit of 1984 revisionist history in terms of the fact that like Dylan did make a couple of
you can only talk about Dylan as if he was a failure.
How many off-schedule plays do we actually think Dylan made in his 22 games?
In the Minnesota game, yes, he got sacked a lot, and for plenty of those times he was statue. But he made a couple of, if you go back and watch that game, he made a couple of off-schedule plays in that game where he was rolling left and rolling right.
What do you want to put the number at? 22 games of Dylan starts.
I don't
know that we have any way of actually
doing we have no way of doing this, but it's like, and people are immediately going to say that I am wrong because Dana Holgerson is hammering on the fact that he didn't like off schedule. We weren't off schedule enough or anything like that. But I'm telling you,
the guy who called the plays that led to the offensive poor production doesn't believe in the player that he feels was the problem, even though he didn't play all the games last year.
I knew this would be what happened. I knew this would be what would happen. They're going to try and make the case that it was all Dylan's fault.
Of course they are. I watched the games and they were talking about, like he's talking about them being off schedule as if Dylan never, ever went off schedule. I watched all the games. There was multiple.
Was the Hail Mary off schedule?
The
Hail Mary
times.
was just a planned. I think it was a planned off schedule. A planned off schedule, right?
He still had to roll and make the throw and get hit.
Yeah, but like on schedule, he threw it to the end zone.
Is there a schedule for a Hail Mary?
Yeah, and I think he followed it.
It comes out on March 20th.
He followed this.
There was a very in the box Hail Mary.
The 7 second, you will step over this player.
There was no laterals. There was no.
Well, yeah, there was no lateral.
Yeah, I just I
will agree to that.
I think it's an on schedule Hail Mary. No credit for Dylan.
I'm just saying. It just sometimes when we talk about the offense last year, it feels like a George Orwell book where it's just like it was all this. But then when
Animal Farm?
No, 1984. Okay. When they but like. I do want to remind everybody that they're making it seem like it was all like what you're saying, Connor, like it's all Dylan's fault, the offense last year in some cases, and we're doing this whole off schedule conversation. But you go back in the last 2 seasons and you watch the press conferences of Matt Rule, he's literally making a point as it's not Dylan's fault. Like he said that after the Michigan
Yeah, but that was just because they wanted to love him so much. I love you, little baby Dylan. You'll never do a wrong thing.
Don't ever leave me.
Yeah. and then they were like, all right, actually, it's cool.
See ya, you suck. You're the worst. You're right. We couldn't do anything because of you.
Yeah.
I
You couldn't.
genuinely think Nebraska fans would probably only do well if their quarterback was there for a singular season for the rest of the
I
tournament.
agree. Every single
No one
quarterback
can
of my
handle a
lifetime,
multi-year starter.
every single Nebraska quarterback of my lifetime either dies the hero or lives long enough to see himself become the
Is
villain.
two years
Every
is a sweet
single
spot?
one.
Except for Casey Thompson. who-
Except for arguably Casey Thompson and Joe Gans. That's it. And definitely Joe
Zach
Gans.
Taylor.
Zach Taylor.
Yeah, Zach Taylor's correct.
He was
2
a Big 12
years.
player of the year, his
Zach-
second year.
Zach Taylor 2 years, but they were still, kind of near national championship era. And
Sure.
they're like, they weren't
But-
exactly happy
but-
with how things were going.
But to your
But yeah, Zach Taylor is enjoyed.
But to your point, to your point of like
Certainly more than the Bengals.
one
Yes.
good point. 1 year quarterbacks, you'd say arguably Casey Thompson. He's only here for a year. He was,
I know.
and by the way, he got
And,
hurt.
and the
too.
problem is they've
Played
had
9 games.
the only other
He wasn't that
quarterbacks they've
good.
had is
He was
4-year
okay.
starters. This is weird. The more I don't know, we're talking about sports too much. This kind of sucks. But like
You wanted to make about my dad.
Just
but
the
my
more-
dad was about sports.
just the more I think about this, I don't
Put
know.
a pin in it. Save it for tomorrow.
Save it for tomorrow.
Ah,
Save
we
it for
can do a
tomorrow,
topic
and
on
you can
this.
do a topic.
I
on
just
it.
I
I wanted to bring up this during the crossover real quick because I know that this man to my left was going to be the only one who actually understood what I was talking about because he's had eyes on Dana like I've had eyes on Dana. He's had more eyes on Dana than I've had, frankly.
I only have 2 eyes.
Okay,
so-
but I mean,
you
he's
don't
been a
think I'm
very-
watching Dana?
No, but he's been a critic of Dana. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm generally pro Dana.
You have a Dana Holgerson shirt?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was before last season.
I'm
Last
not, like-
season was a disaster.
Yeah, he ain't wearing it lately.
Yeah, I ain't wearing that shirt. Baby. Thank
I
you,
don't think
Josh.
I'm anti-Dana. I just am like not accepting this idea that he was so tamped down by Dylan Raiola. he
Neither do
couldn't come
I.
up with
I
an
don't.
offense.
I don't agree with that either. This whole conversation about
I
Dylan
don't
not
either,
being
by
off
the way.
schedule is so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I
That
don't
was-
either. I don't have a skull or bones. Is what that snowman says in Frozen.
Olaf.
Mhm.
I played Olaf in a school play.
I heard about that.
No, you didn't.
You
heard
said
about-
that on
You
this.
heard about Willy Wonka.
You did say Willy Wonka.
I
Maybe
played.
it was.
I played the snowman in a different. Play.
So is that one of your lines? I don't have a skull or bones.
Not that. I don't remember any of my lines from Olaf. I had an Olaf hat though.
I like warm hugs.
Yes, that was one. Of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you recently watched that?
Oh,
movie?
I've watched it a lot,
Okay.
Matt. a lot.
This
Your
is
dog-
probably unfair. For some reason, I would assume you'd struggle with remembering your lines.
No, I.
Interesting.
Nope.
Little scatterbrain, maybe.
Well, I am scatterbrained. Like I do. I
Well,
mean, I often
Remembering isn't exactly like a strong suit for
I-
you with stuff. Like you just leave things.
Well, yeah, from like 2000. Well,
You're gonna blame that on
remembering
your dad too.
I mean, if that would be the side of the family I would get that thing from.
And I say this as someone who leaves his mic muff here 3
Well,
out of
no,
5.
I mean, are you?
You
talking,
did leave that, by the way. It's over here.
Yeah, are you talking about leaving things specifically or not remembering facts?
remembering being like, but some of that is just your
I think I have a
the
pretty.
scatterbrain tendency takes it over everything that's around you, so you have a lot going on, so you won't always remember each individual thing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to get at here. I forget things, and oftentimes my brain
No,
goes in a bunch,
I was
bunch of
just
different
saying-
directions.
I thought that maybe memorizing lines would be a difficult.
No, wasn't difficult.
Okay.
Not at all. Sometimes
Olaf
have a-
didn't have a whole lot.
No, he didn't have a lot of material.
Well, Willy Wonka would. I'm assuming that's a
Willy
lead.
Wonka had like 250 something lines. But like you get,
Were you singing?
oh yeah,
You got that in your bag?
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagine. That's not bad. Come on.
I don't know.
I went to I did karaoke the first time in forever this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
At Jay's in Blackstone.
What'd you sing?
When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars. Brought the house down. I hope he buys you flowers. Yeah,
Flowers.
yeah.
Why?
Because it's a great song.
Hmm.
I'm
kind of out on Bruno Mars.
Well, why is that?
Because of his songs being bad?
I thought it was because of his notorious gambling.
No, I don't care about that, obviously.
That guy.
Why would
We're
Happer
friends with
care
you.
about his gambling?
That guy is apparently like gambled over $700 million.
Yeah, I know. He's like super in debt or whatever. That's not a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You actually respect him more because of that.
No, I have no. I like to keep the art, you know.
Okay. I feel that.
I like to keep
Ryan Russillo, I was actually came away more impressed with Bruno Mars.
No, I just don't think the songs are very good.
I think that's a bad take. I think his songs are really good. I think if there's honestly any sort of redeeming qualities about Bruno Mars, it's probably his songs are good. You don't like Grenade?
Once again, I don't think about the other stuff.
You wouldn't catch a grenade for him?
I remember that song. I don't really care for it.
Put your hand on the blade for you? How about the
Jump
lazy
in
song?
front of the train? Yeah, all that.
How about the lazy song?
Yep, I remember that song.
You don't
too.
feel like doing anything? You just want to lay in
Nothing
your bed?
at all.
Feel like picking up the phone?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna leave a message at
the tone? Yep.
Yeah.
I remember all these songs. I just didn't really care for them.
Really like them.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could have given you a single song from Bruno Mars.
That is incorrect.
Like tell you the actual name of the song. There's a chance I've heard them because I'm familiar with Bruno
Uptown
Mars.
Funk?
All right, you've heard this song.
Yeah, you know Uptown Funk.
You've heard.
I didn't know that was Bruno Mars. I thought that was like Mark Ronson or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. You've definitely heard that. You've definitely heard "Marry You" at weddings.
I think I want to marry you.
Yep,
probably.
Exactly. So you've heard that. So you know about Bruno.
You know a
And
lot
we
of-
do talk about Bruno in this case.
There you go.
Shout out to
Nice.
Encanto. I'll watch that mug.
What did you, Gringo? What'd you just say? Encanto?
Sorry, Encanto.
Encanto.
Yeah.
Jeez, you are so white.
Apologies.
You are
I am white, and I am not
Thinking about
arguing.
eating white people tacos again. He was
Nah,
talking about it.
yeah.
Whoa, flour tortillas?
Yeah, I haven't done it in such a long time. All these people were talking about these people. I mean, Joey and Schaefer were talking about their
White
favorite taco seasonings.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't done that in a long time.
Taco. Yeah, we don't use taco seasoning.
I don't know who we is here, and I don't really care.
The Latin community.
Indifferent.
Schaefer and Joey's favorite tacos are definitely ground beef with tomato, lettuce, and cheese.
Definitely.
Favorite tacos are chicken, but I don't mind ground beef.
With tomatoes, lettuce, and cheese.
But we are seasoning our food, yes?
Yeah, are we putting seasoning?
Oh, yeah,
on
they're
our
a
food?
pro seasoning for
I
sure.
don't. I don't look at
okay.
Schaefer and think he's not seasoning his food.
No, I don't either.
I trust.
We've got a seasoning.
Now, Joey, yeah, a little bit.
like
Do you see what Joey puts on his Twitter as to what he eats? The slop that he puts down.
It's some of my favorite content.
That I feel bad for
Did
Joey's.
he just do like sausage and potatoes?
That's what he does every time. He doesn't. The post is nothing other than greasy andouille sausage and potatoes with a Corona. All right, I feel for his small intestine.
Well, this was a Sam Adams winner.
He does change up the beer from time to time.
He loves a Blue Moon.
I asked him about the beer. He didn't really have much of a review on it.
Yeah, I asked him about it too, and he goes, "I have a dentist appointment. I can't go." I go, "Okay."
He was that. I'm glad the dentist appointment went well for him. There was some real nerves there.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
He had to get out of here. It just was very quick.
Is he afraid of the dentist?
No, he's
I think
fine
he's
with
stressed
the
about the schedule.
Yes, correct.
Schedules being his life.
Mm-hmm.
Joey's a stress guy. It's okay.
He is excited to do the Creighton game on Thursday, though.
Yeah, I was very happy. I didn't really have an opinion or care about how this went for Creighton.
I didn't.
But I knew
Yeah.
how much it mattered to Joey because he wanted to get one more game as he has talked
And
or
look at
tweeted
that.
about the Three Amigos.
It all fell into place.
I was so happy that
All for
Butler
Joey.
won. Don't have to do an overtime on Thursday. Let's get in.
Oh, I
Sounds
didn't think
incredible.
that you were doing postseason overtime.
I
Or didn't know postseason shoot arounds?
I'm not doing postseason overtimes. We do have to figure that out. But if it was before Friday, I was gonna have to do a postseason overtime. Now I don't, because there's no postseason overtime.
Is that a new
What?
postseason overtime?
Just with the way the schedule broke out. There's
With the-
no
There's
no
as
overtime
the sports
Thursday?
schedule
The
allows.
sports schedule did not allow an overtime.
Will
after-
the sports schedule allow Crown overtime? Because get ready to learn
they
Crown,
are
buddy.
They're not gonna get.
They got the
Crown.
5 seed. They're in. It's
That's a thing.
they finished 5th.
So they get a crown.
Almost
entrance?
certainly it's going to be them and Seton Hall for the
Yeah,
big
Omaha's a new crown town.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Haven't
love
you
the
heard the
crown.
promo?
I did not know this. That the
These two people who mocked the
It's the
hell out
top
of the crown are
two-
going to be all about the crown.
The top 2 non-Big East tournament teams non-tournament Big East teams will make it.
You have to remember
Pappers
that
were
there's
looking into going to the crown.
No, I wasn't.
there's
I'm
a
not
flip
going.
side to that. Remember last year, Creighton fans made fun of Nebraska for caring about the crown, and Nebraska fans made fun of Creighton for, if you're not going to win the national championship, what does the tournament matter?
Interesting thing that you just brought up. Also, I seem to remember a conversation about winning games in April.
Yeah, that was where I landed.
Interesting.
That was my corner of the troll.
Sort of interesting,
Never would
considering
have said what Josh said.
I
over
believe
there.
the crown takes place exclusively in April this year.
So
big opportunity for Creighton to do something they haven't done before.
Win in
go
April.
Santa Clara.
I can't. This is going to be great. The roles are just going to be completely reversed.
By
Well,
the way,
they would need to win in the crown, which is something they haven't done in the regular season or in crown history.
But they got the 5 seed in the Big East tournament
And they
by
have to accept
by
the
a
crown
giant
invite.
stroke of luck.
hand to God, I didn't give a crap about any of that last year. I didn't give a crap about Creighton. Didn't give a crap about Nebraska and the crown. I'm exempt from all of this. I made it very clear.
You didn't care about any of it?
I didn't care about.
I
any
don't
of it.
believe
I
any
don't
of
think that is correct.
I didn't care about Nebraska in the crown.
You didn't?
No, I wasn't making.
You
jokes.
weren't talking about Nebraska in the crowd?
I mean, we talked about the games, but I wasn't making like, "Ooh, we won games in April. Creighton sucks." I wasn't a part of that.
okay.
Well, you missed out.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I had a good time.
Yeah, I did too, in my own way.
I thought it was.
I ignored the crowd.
I ignored all of it. I did not care about any of it.
Oh, no,
This
but
has
you
nothing
didn't
to do
ignore
with
it
me.
like I
It sounds like you
ignored
had the worst experience out of everybody.
I just laughed while everybody got really mad over nothing. I'm like, both of these teams are very mid.
Oh, it's very mature, Matt.
I know.
Try something different.
It was like Nebraska.
Sometimes on a radio show, you try things and they work, or maybe they don't.
You didn't talk about the crown for 3 hours.
Just about 3 hours, yeah.
That's incredible.
We almost made it. Pressure got too hot. Got a little too hot. Mm-hmm.
And then you had to. You broke.
Never really had to, but I
You
did
broke.
give in. Yeah.
You gave in. You
Yeah.
couldn't do it. You couldn't go through with the bit. You knew what you had to do, but you didn't have the strength to do
What
it.
I said to Josh before is, here's my idea. We're going to ignore this as long as we can. I didn't have the expectation that we were going to make it through the entire show.
You should have made it through the entire show. It would have been awesome. It would have been.
I think we had an interview
Perfect.
or something, and I needed to recognize it or something like that.
And now
What a time.
it's a crown town.
It's a crown.
I love the crown, baby. I love it.
Do you love the crown?
Oh, I love a crown.
He looked on the show the other day. He was looking at like if he went, what it would be, how he could do it.
Turns out I definitely can't now for other reasons.
Do we think that they're going to for sure accept a crown invitation?
Not for sure, but I would imagine so.
Can you imagine if Max's last win is in the crown?
It's theoretically possible.
It theoretically possibly could happen.
Theoretically possible.
Did Nebraska ever get paid all the NIL money from the crown last year? Or hear that Creighton did Creighton not get paid for the Vegas players?
I don't know if Creighton
different things. The crown's money would have came from the TV networks, which I think is a lot.
I was
more
making
stable.
more of a joke about the
Hey,
players.
the Players
era
Era money
tournament
comes from the
did.
TV networks too.
Well, then I don't know.
Yeah, what happened to that money? Did Creighton ever
I actually don't know if Creighton got paid or not, but somebody apparently somewhere said that not everyone got paid.
I would,
Which
sort of
is
assume
amazing.
Not every team would get
Embarrassing.
paid the same either.
back to the Maui?
That is correct, Mike Schaefer. I wonder why Kansas got Notre Dame and Syracuse, and in the first 2 games of the Players Era, it's almost like they were begging
It's
them to
almost
come.
like there's a different set of rules for Kansas on every plane of college
Whoa!
basketball.
It's
in the
fascinating.
history of the sport.
It's fascinating. So
I wonder.
one could assume
we do
maybe
different things for Bill Self than anyone else.
one could assume maybe they got a few more bucks to be there than some others.
Actually, I heard that Kansas got paid before the games were even played.
Actually, I think that's right.
They got their money right away.
Seriously.
That they were going to sit on the plane unless they brought the briefcase and cash out.
Bring the McDonald's bags. Bring them over.
We're not going in.
And we're not going to play at the what are they? The MGM Grand Arena.
Mm-hmm.
Nice arena is what you said. I
It's
remember.
not. That one's not.
Okay.
Maybe that's where Darren Peterson got the idea of just sitting out randomly.
The other one's better. The Michelob Ultra was better. Where the Vegas WNBA team plays.
What's that piece of paper?
Oh, we were guessing things.
What is this?
So our
do you-
man of the weekend.
Oh, Connor guess. Fox for broadcasting double Hurley box. Nice. Joey's
He was
guess.
wrong though.
Baylor, always Baylor.
Baylor Shireman.
I guessed Joey's correctly. It was Jason Tatum
That guy's obsessed with that guy.
With Baylor Shireman? Yeah.
and Jason Tatum.
And sausages and Sam Adams loggers, with
Peppers.
potatoes, and well, sometimes there's a pepper. Sometimes, so sometimes it's a good crossover, just like this one. And that crossover was powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Can you touch it, please?
Tap it.
At everlevelconcrete.com. Middays with Matt. Up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays, Matt, live and rolling here on a fantastic Monday here in Omaha. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson on 1620 Zone. Great weather we're having today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in your office today are
probably going to leave early.
Find something to do this afternoon.
Do not be surprised if Dale just ends up on the golf course at 3:30 today. I thought he went out to lunch. Maybe Dale, you know what? This would be a great moment to be like, hey, I'm going to have a Kansas City lunch. And instead of having a KC lunch, what you do instead is you go and golf.
Surprising amount of client meetings this afternoon, I imagine.
Great. Oh, my God. Why is the company card blowing up on this random Monday in March?
People getting work done.
A lot of people getting a lot of work done, not just in the offices, but on the basketball courts as well. Nebraska basketball. What a win yesterday, Josh Odson.
I'm known for my cynicism towards the Nebraska basketball program.
You are. That's what you're known for specifically.
There is nothing I can be cynical about. It was a great game. It was exciting to watch. The stuff between Sam and Fred was incredible. Kale was on an all-timer.
I
got no notes.
I had some things to say about Cale Jacobson about 2 years ago. Okay. And by the way, credit to me for being the big man here and admitting this. All right.
That's what people say about you.
I know. There's like, hey, he's an honest guy. He's willing to admit when he was wrong. I was wrong about Cale Jacobson. I thought Cale Jacobson was like, oh, they're just, walk on, state champion, awesome high school player. I don't think he's really tall enough. I don't think he's athletic enough. He's not not a good enough shooter. I mean, can he really handle the ball at a D1 Power 5 level to be effective? Like there was just, you look at Cale Jacobson from a prospect perspective, right? I'm just talking about in terms of height, in terms of length, in terms of shooting ability, in terms of, will his skills from the high school court be able to transfer over to a college, to a high college level as an effective player at the highest level of college basketball? And I think out of high school, a lot of scouts, which is why he was a walk-on, would say, no, not really. Guy's not big enough. Guy's not long enough. He's not as good of a shooter. He's not a knockdown three-point shooter. Doesn't have these fancy ball handles or anything like that. But what he did in high school was get a bucket and lead his team to a state title and dominate and be one of the best high school basketball players in the state of Nebraska. And so the guy's just a hooper. He's just a baller. Like Cale Jacobson and Sam Hoiberg are very similar from the perspective of, are they NBA type prospects with how they look and how they jump and their athleticism or anything like that? No. But are they just hoopers who play winning basketball, who affect the game in so many different ways outside of the stat sheet? Absolutely. And yesterday, we saw the evolution of not just Cale, of Sam as well, win them that game. That's the funny thing that people that got overlooked yesterday. So Cale obviously hits the two 3-pointers in overtime to lead Nebraska to that victory. Do you know who assisted on both of those shots? Sam. Sam was the one who passed him that ball both times. And then Sam got his own 2-point bucket to really put the game out of reach in overtime. It was just a great win. And I think the swing between how you would feel after a loss compared to after a win was massive. Like you would have two completely different feelings heading into the postseason based on the result of that game, right? They won the game yesterday, and so you feel good. You're like, hey, another quad 1 win. Got 9 of them on the season, right? That's one of the highest marks in the entire NCAA. Like only the teams that are going to be the top 4 seeds, which are Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida, those 4 teams are the only ones that have double-digit quad 1 wins. After that, it's Nebraska with 9. along with Michigan State, and then nobody else has 9 quad 1 wins. Now, we can get in and Dirk Chatlin had a good tweet this morning about how, from a quad 1A perspective, where it's like those are the highest quality of quad 1 wins that you can have, Nebraska isn't necessarily at the top of that heap, right? Nebraska has a couple of victories that kind of snuck in terms of quad 1 wins, right? Like in particularly their Northwestern quad 1 win. They're that was on the road, 70th, right? Their Minnesota quad 1 win. Minnesota's 74th in the net rankings. Minnesota could lose a game in the Big Ten tournament, and that no longer would be a quad 1 win, right? So they have 9 of them. Are they of the highest quality? No, but still, Nebraska basketball picks up a 9th Q1 win heading into the Big Ten conference tournament. We have this discussion all the time about, hey, does the Big Ten tournament matter that much in terms of improving your seeding? It definitely doesn't have as much bearing as people think it could have. At the same time, though, Nebraska very much is bordering being a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Now, here's the thing, like, who's Nebraska going to really knock out to be a 2 seed if they end up winning multiple games in the Big Ten tournament? Are they going to knock out Illinois? I don't think a loss to the Big Ten tournament for Illinois is going to knock them out. Are they going to knock out Michigan State? I mean, if they beat them for a second time, maybe the head-to-head is a factor for the tournament. I think it's a stretch, to say the least, that this is something can happen. Hey, if UConn loses again, is just one and done in the Big East tournament, maybe they fall. But I think that Nebraska, definitely a team projected to be as a higher 3. Can they sneak in and be a 2? Maybe. Is it likely? Probably not. But we'll talk about the Iowa game yesterday, the great win that they had yesterday, the clutch win that they had yesterday against a team that Loki's had their number the last couple of times they played. Last season, Iowa went 2-0, overtime win at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and then ended Nebraska's season very abruptly in the same game, basically, they played yesterday. And then earlier this year, you go back on the road to Iowa City and you lose that one. And what a difference a year makes, man. Seriously. Like, the snapshot from the win they had yesterday, and you literally just go 365 days before that when I was at that game, that Iowa-Nebraska game. That was an embarrassing game to be at. That game, there was nothing fun about that Husker Hawkeye game last year at Pinnacle Bank Arena at PBA at like 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, there just wasn't really a whole lot of moments where you thought that Nebraska was going to pull it off and win that game. And PBA knew the stakes of that game, because if Nebraska were to have lost that game, they don't go to the Big Ten tournament. You don't go to the Big Ten tournament, kiss your NCAA tournament hopes goodbye. And, that crowd was trying to do everything to will that team into that game. And it just never shook out. And you're leaving that stadium and you feel like crap. Like I felt like crap leaving Pinnacle Bank Arena a year ago after they lost to Iowa. Just be like, all right, basketball season's over. And then, they ended up going to the Crown. But that feeling of just disgust, being like, man, it seemed like at one point we were in the driver's seat to make the NCAA tournament. And now we're not even going to make the Big Ten tournament. How embarrassing is that? It stung. And 365 days later, we're talking about, wow, this team's going to go to the Big Ten tournament with a double bye as the number 2 seed. And Fred Hoiberg gets a contract extension the next day. Fred Hoiberg went from a guy who literally had to restructure his contract a couple of seasons ago, and somebody who was very much like, this season could have gone the other way. This season, if Nebraska basketball did not have a good season this year and did not make the NCAA tournament once again, and, had a very disappointing year, we might be having the opposite conversation of Fred Hoiberg. But instead, we're talking about him as the national coach of the year, which he is, by the way. He's the national coach of the year. You don't get mocked to be picked 14th in the Big Ten and finish second and don't win national coach of the year. And, more than likely, hopefully they end up winning 27 games and break the single season record. They already tied it at 26. They won 26 regular season games this year. Can we just take a step back, guys, and think about that for a second? They won 26 regular season basketball games. 9 of them were quad one victories. They didn't lose one game that wasn't a quad one opportunity. Insanity. So I mean, it's crazy how much a difference a year makes. It was announced today. Fred Hoiberg earned a contract extension. Nebraska basketball poised to be a 3 seed. Is Sam Hoiberg the most important player of the Fred Hoiberg era? We're gonna have that conversation. I have a list. I wrote down my top 5 most important players of the Fred Hoiberg era. I don't know, man. Sam's up there. He had another incredible game yesterday. Some uncharacteristic turnovers, but overall, double-digit points, had 5 steals, was massive. 6 of his 15 total points yesterday came in overtime, had those 2 really big assists to Cale Jacobson where he makes those threes. Cale just clutch shots, man. I feel like that first 3 that he made in overtime, he kind of was hesitant to shoot it, which is so incredible to me. He just kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he kind of fumbled the ball just a little bit, but ended up knocking it down. And so Nebraska going to enter the Big Ten tournament as a 2 seed. Unfortunately, there was a scenario, Josh Hodson, where this team might have avoided Illinois, Michigan, and Purdue in the Big Ten tournament, which you're like, wow, like they're gonna be on the side of the bracket and they don't really have to play any of the teams that don't really match up that badly against them. That's not going to happen. They'll play the winner of Purdue versus Indiana, Penn State, or Northwestern. And so Nebraska's game probably more than likely going to be against the Boilermakers, the team that was picked to finish number 1 in the Big Ten and was the preseason number 1 ranked team in the country, struggling mightily down the stretch. Lost 4 games at Mackey Arena this year. Woof. Which, by the way, hell of a game that was played between Wisconsin and Purdue. Would not be surprised if Wisconsin, if you see them as if your favorite a gambler or bettor or expert on Twitter or whatnot, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they are picking Wisconsin to win the Big Ten tournament. That might be the sexy pick, just based off of the run. Also, too, great stat from Jacob Bigelow I was given yesterday.
Biggie.
In the 2020s, so in the last 5 years, there's at least one team in the Big Ten tournament championship game played either on Thursday or before that. So we haven't had a Big Ten tournament championship game in the 2020s that's been played by 2 teams who played on Friday.
Okay.
So we've always had somebody who didn't have the double bye make it to the Big Ten champ. And we can't forget the 2022 Iowa team who did not get that double bye, and they won the Big Ten tournament. And then they went to the NCAA tournament. They lost to the Richmond, Virginia Spiders. Remember that game? Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
That was a great one. That was a phenomenal game to watch. Did I make money on Richmond? You bet your ass I did. So anyway, Nebraska going to the Big Ten tournament. Can they? Look, you beat Purdue and you beat Michigan State. Those would be 2. Talk about, do you like Q1 wins or do you like Q1A wins? Both of those games, if they were to win, would be Q1A wins. Having a win over Purdue and Michigan State, Purdue 10th in the net ranking, Michigan State 11th in the net ranking. For those at home, Nebraska's 12th in the net ranking. Nebraska wins those 2 games against Purdue and Michigan State. I don't know. We'll see what happens to other potential 2 seeds across the country. But, I mean, it'd be one hell of a resume for Nebraska to end this season. So we will definitely it'll be a big lead up into the Big Ten Conference tournament, which begins tomorrow on our Tuesday games as Oregon plays Maryland and Northwestern plays Penn State. And then the Wednesday games will include Iowa, USC, Washington, Indiana, Rutgers, and Minnesota. And then the Thursday opponents will be Ohio State, Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, Michigan, Illinois, Nebraska, and Michigan State are your top 4 seeds. Andy Katz is getting a lot of grief right now on Twitter because he picked Dusty May to be the Big Ten Coach of the Year over Fred Hoiberg. I do want to say this. Fred Hoiberg should win Big Ten Coach of the Year. Fred Hoiberg should win National Coach of the Year. Dusty May went 19-1, though, in a double-digit bid Big Ten this season. the way he constructed this roster, especially like through the portal as well. Merez Johnson coming from the portal, Mara coming from the portal, got Merez, Yaxel Lendenberg came from the portal. That Michigan team looked really, really good against MSU. High quality game. About 8 minutes left. It was basically tied, going back and forth, and then Michigan goes on a really big run, and then they just never looked back, winning that game 90 to 80. And so the Wolverines 29-2 to end the year. Two other teams in the country ended their seasons 29-2. Duke and Arizona. Duke dominant over North Carolina. Caleb Wilson come back soon is what the Tar Heels are begging for. I don't know. North Carolina kind of just it looked rough, and Cam Boozer, man. I mean, there's been some weird talks and like a lot of chirping on Twitter about, oh, when he goes to the NBA, he's not going to be able to just bully and turn around and hit a layup. I don't know, man. I don't know if you watch Carlos play, but I mean, that's Cam Boozer's legit. Cam Boozer's a guy, and I'm not. That's a player too. Like the one thing that I liked about Cooper Flagg last year, Josh, and some people might laugh at this, but I thought he set a really good screen, Cooper Flagg.
Oh,
like I was just, but the point was this. My point with Cooper Flagg and setting good screens was that's a guy who, is a superstar, a number one overall pick, and everybody's talking about the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes and how he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. And, we've seen kind of the prima donna number one overall superstar, nonchalant, doesn't really try, just wants to get his stats, just want to gets his buckets. And yet when I saw Cooper Flagg play with Duke, you just saw the unselfishness of like, he wanted to win more than anything. It wasn't about his draft stock. It wasn't about what pick he was going to go at. It was just about, are we going to win? I see the same qualities in Cam Boozer. And I think you saw it when Duke absolutely dominated North Carolina over the weekend.
I'm ready to not whoever's playing North Carolina in the first round.
Okay.
I'm ready to advance them.
See, I think
because Caleb ain't coming back.
I think the opposite.
They're sad boys.
I think they're the opposite.
Okay. You think they're going to rally?
Here's why. I agree with you. Right? I would also be like, I ain't picking North Carolina. But anytime I'm that confident in anything, in sports, the opposite happens.
That's definitely true.
I'm actually going to pencil in North Carolina to make it to the round of 32.
Ooh.
And then they're going to lose. Then they won't make it to the Sweet 16 without Caleb Wilson. But Duke, Michigan, and Arizona, if I gave you those teams or the field, you would say I would probably take Duke, Michigan, and Arizona right now over the field. That's what I would say.
Some strong ones this season.
Yeah, I don't think this would not go on the board, but and it's not a hot take or anything, but I think a 1 seed is going to win the national championship. That's just, yeah. I don't even feel like I have to say that. It's just probably going to happen for three dominant ones in Duke, Michigan, and Arizona. And then a Florida team where, are they not, we were doing tiers in college basketball. Would I put them a tier below those three teams? Yeah. Would I say that they don't have a shot at winning the national championship? Absolutely not. They absolutely have a shot going back to back this season, playing really, really good basketball down the stretch. So we'll talk about the Husker basketball game more in depth against Iowa. I have some questions when it comes to Sam Hoiberg. Is he the most important player in the Fred Hoiberg era? We also have some questions about Braden Frager. We'll have that discussion. Something's got to give when it comes to that. And if Nebraska is going to reach the second weekend, they're going to have to do it with him. Oh, we'll talk about Husker football. They had a 150-play scrimmage that happened on Saturday. Rob Orich and Dana Holgerson both went to the podium and talked about their offense and defense's performance, guys that they like, things that they're noticing. Dana talked a lot about off-schedule stuff. Rob Orich did the new coach thing where he starts dropping names of guys because he doesn't really know any better, right? Like he's just saying what he's seeing, right? But to us, it's like, whoa, that's a really big deal. Like Sua Lefotu, I haven't heard your name in forever. Sua, you're popping. All right, let's write an article on it. That's how these things happen with new coaches. So we'll talk about that. We'll also, I found a tweet over the weekend, and I found it very amusing. You find it amusing? Would I amuse you? I found it very funny. And I'm going to explain to you why I thought it funny. I'm also going to explain to you why Nebraska, why Cornhusker fans are quite the incredible fan base, if you will. So talk about that. We'll talk about the conference tourneys in the NCAA, a couple of finals tonight. Other ones begin today as well. And then also, hey, the NFL free agency legal tampering window opens up in roughly 15 minutes. We will find out
Already some leaks.
where certain players are going to go. Where does Alante Taylor go? Almost went to the Chicago Bears via trade, but they couldn't make the money
That's definitely the
work out on the
headliner.
trade deadline. Where's Tariq Woolen going to go? Where's Kenneth Walker going to go? Where is Malik Willis going to go? Kyler Murray, where is he going to go? Tua Tagovailoa, no longer a Miami Dolphin. Tua, they're paying you $100 million. Miami's paying you $100 million to play against them. That's what Miami thinks of you. Come on, Tua.
He's not going that far from Miami.
Let's have a conversation. You want, what do we want here? You want to stay in the show, and I want to squeeze every last bit of football you got in you. Let's do that together. All right? Be a leader. Yes, I'm quoting Moneyball. By the way, from Adam Schefter, Falcons are expected to pursue Tua Tagovailoa.
Couple of lefties in Atlanta.
He's going to the Jets. He's going to be.
No, that's Minka Fitzpatrick you're talking about.
No. Wait, did he become a Jet?
Yes.
Okay. Good for Minka, I guess.
Traded.
I haven't seen that. When did who did he get traded for?
A 7th round pick.
Oh, wow. What a deal. By the way, from basically everybody, I'm not going to give 1 ounce of credit to one specific person because everybody tweeted it all at the same time with their all different takes and graphics. Travis Kelce is working on a deal with Kansas City to bring the future Hall of Famer back for a 14th season.
Shocked.
So now Albert Breer,
dead to us,
says so Patrick Mahomes and company will make another run at a 4th Lombardi. Are you sure that Pat is going to be ready?
Everybody's saying Pat's going to be there for week 1.
Okay.
And I'm not skeptical. Like, I believe him when they say that.
I'll believe it.
Boy, that's quick.
That's very quick. He got hurt at like the very last game of the regular season.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on everything else happening in free agency. We'll also give you kind of a runaround of college basketball. All that and more with Robin Washington at 1:20 here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We already got a couple of teams locked into the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to Queens University. Queens, which, by the way, where do you think Queens is located? Josh Hudson.
We did this when Nebraska played them.
Oh, fair enough.
In the middle of the day. I don't remember the answer.
Charlotte.
Ah,
I was like, what a win for New York.
not that Queens.
No,
It's not the borough.
I did watch that game, the ASUN championship with Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas had this guy named Cameron Hunter. It's like Camren, Cameron Hunter.
Okay.
He had 49 points.
Goo.
And they lost. Both those teams were trying to find a way to not win that game in overtime. There are a lot of just weird turnovers and the ball jumping everywhere. But Queens ended up winning that one. They're projected to be a 15 seed. High Point, their first season with their head coach Flynn Clayman.
What happened to the last one?
He went to this little university in Omaha. It's called Creighton University. And he actually, Josh, it'd be funny. You would think that he took the head coaching job. No. He actually became like the top assistant, associate head coach in waiting. There.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
good for him.
Good for him. It's a good job for him. Also, good job for Flynn Clayman, who led High Point, dominated in their conference championship game, won the Big South once again over Winthrop. People might forget Winthrop played Nebraska earlier in the season at Pinnacle Bank Arena. That was a game that Nebraska actually got off to a fairly slow start. In Winthrop and Nebraska were actually fairly competitive with one another in the first half. That was also the night of the Class A state championship games. Fun fact, when Nebraska played Winthrop earlier in the year, but they lost to High Point. High Point handled that pretty easily. They're going to the NCAA tournament. They're projected to be a 12 seed. They're going to be a big Cinderella favorite, if you will. When you read when you're trying to study up to fill up your NCAA brackets, you're going to see a lot of people that are going to say, hey, High Point can make a really big run this year as a 12. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Northern Iowa, stand up, shout out. They end up winning the Missouri Valley Conference. They beat the UIC Flames. Would have been a massive win for the University of Illinois Chicago, where all of the Illinois Illini fans would have put on their UIC shirts because that's where they got like their graduate degrees or went to law school or like did some sort of master's program at UIC. People go to UIC. They get their grad degrees from UIC. There's not a ton of people who I don't know a ton of people who went to UIC. But Flames lost to UNI. They'll be a 13 seed. Tennessee State and Long Island fins up.
Oh, the Sharks.
Yes. By the way, I kind of like Nebraska taking the fins up. Why not? You're the bigger school. Just flex your muscle a little bit. You got the bigger student section. It's an homage. They're paying homage, They're not stealing. Vintage LIU, if you will. Making some WWE references there. But Long Island going to the NCAA tournament, Tennessee State going to the NCAA tournament, and the winner of the Summit League, the North Dakota State Bison, for the first time. Now, they made the tournament in 2020, but COVID happened. Okay, so it didn't count, but they made the tournament in 2020. So I'm going to say it's the first time since 2020 they've made the NCAA tournament. The Bison were the number 1 seed in the Summit League. They get it done. Take care of business. So you have 6 teams currently right now locked in to the NCAA tourney. We got some more conference tournament games tonight. I also have a Matt McFuture here. I'm going to throw this out right now. I don't know if we'll get to it for the rest of the show. Arkansas beat Missouri on the road. It was a hell of a win by the Razorbacks. That team is kind of built like a lot of the top teams that you're seeing right now in college basketball in this regard. Multiple guys, pretty deep rotation, big, physical, long. They play hard. They got a really good coach, John Calipari. Great coach, not really good, great coach. Picked up his 900th career win by defeating Missouri over the weekend. They did it without arguably the best player in all of college basketball right now, Darius Acuff. Okay. When they get Acuff back, that team, I mean, they got, like, I said this last week, Josh Hodson. I thought Darius Acuff has the ability to be this year's Walter Clayton Jr. Walter Clayton Jr. was the guard for Florida last year that led them to the national championship, that just hit all of those big shots while you had that imposing Florida front court and just a ton of size top to bottom from the Gators that led them, along with great coaching, that led them to the national championship. Arkansas played some really, really good basketball against Missouri without their best player. They got some shot makers on that team as well. Plus, now the line's moved a little bit, so people agree with the McFuture here. Money's moving in. When I put it down, well, I haven't put it down yet, but when I looked at it, it was plus 1,300 for Arkansas to make the Final Four. It's now moved to plus 1,100. So money's coming in on the Razorbacks. I'm going to put my money there too. I'm going to put plus 1,100 for the Arkansas Razorbacks to make the Final Four.
Very quickly, I just want to correct the record on the Bison.
Go ahead.
They are 2-4 all time in the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Appearances in 9, 14, 15, and 19.
Yes. And then made it in 20.
Yes.
But we didn't have a tournament.
Yes.
The last Connor Happer had a great take Friday. He goes, or wait, no, it wasn't Connor Happer. It was Josh Peterson. Josh had a great
I see how you get those guys confused.
I do. They're both white and they both have red hair somewhere on their body.
That's right.
Josh said he wished that they just made a tournament bracket for 2020 just so they could say, hey, you made the tournament. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so we don't have to do this thing where it's like, well, they haven't made the tournament since 18. They would have made it in 2020. Like, we don't have to do that. We could just say, hey, they made the tournament. They should have just made a field. They could go back, by the way, and retroactively make a field. You can just look at the numbers.
That would be fun.
Or you could just, I'm sure in the NCAA tournament offices, there's probably some mock bracket laying around that they could have figured out. I don't know. I know it wouldn't have been official, but I just hate doing the whole, well, they would have made it in 2020. We're going to go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 402-951-1620. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. First time calling into this show, Middays with Matt. It's Nebraska ball. Mike, so good to hear from you, man. Oh, no. Mike! Not there. Call again, Mike. 402-951-1620. Prairie Flower Casino. Play
That's
longer.
his COVID entry.
Oh, is that?
Well, so next time he calls, you'll say, first time talking to Nebraska ball Mike, he was going to call earlier, but we didn't get to him.
We'd just make a bracket that said Nebraska ball Mike called in. 402-951-1620 is the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Along with at Matt McMedia. You can go and find me on Twitter at Producer Josh. That's the Zone Twitter feed. It's powered by Liquid Trucking, our brand new sponsor, Liquid Trucking.
Welcome.
Incredible stuff. So excited. By the way, I have a tweet popping off right now. Matt,
you doing some numbies?
Matt Mick engagement. I have a tweet right now that's got 1.4 thousand likes because the picture of Bear K Buchton Joe with Herbie's hat on. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted, there's nothing more college basketball than a 6'8" Turkish man going to the middle of America and celebrating a win over his team's arch rival with a foam cowboy hat. And it's got 1.5 thousand likes and a bunch of retweets, which then, because people are insufferable and they can't help themselves on Twitter, it turned into, is Iowa really our arch rival? You really think Iowa's our arch rival? I'd say it's Oklahoma. That's not the point of the tweet. All right, stop it. Please stop it. So, but we're not going to stop here talking about college basketball because it is March, baby. Conference tournaments are picking up. We're getting the field together in the NCAA tournament. Teams are locking in their bids. Teams from Nebraska are picking up steam heading into the postseason. Not only Nebraska picking up steam with a win over Iowa, but Creighton basketball, hell of a win over Butler. So one of their best games of the season. And then Butler returns the favor, smacks the DePaul Blue Demons, gives Creighton that double bye. Even on a down year, the Creighton Blue Jays are a top 5 seed in the Big East standing. So they're picking up a little steam. We'll touch on the Blue Jays as well, touch on the Nebraska game per side. We'll touch on Nebraska football. We'll also talk to Robin Washut at 1:20. All of that and more here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. We know your time matters, so when you call us, we answer on the very first ring. That's our promise to you. We value your business and will treat you like a friend and neighbor, because more than likely, you are one. While other banks hide behind technology, we combine the best of both. Top-notch. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We had some kind of breaking news in college sports today. Also, a old friend alert, if you will. I don't know if we want to. I don't know if we want to establish that, considering what the news is. But for those who might not have heard this name in a while, Walter, also known as Ted Carter Jr.,
The Admiral.
has resigned from his role leading the Ohio State University after disclosing what the school described as an inappropriate relationship. The university announced Monday that its board of trustees accepted Carter's resignation after he informed members about the situation and offered to step down. In a statement, the university said the relationship involved the person who was seeking public resources to support a personal business venture. The Ohio State University Board of Trustees has accepted President Walter Ted Carter Jr.'s resignation.
That's not what I think of when I think of inappropriate relationship.
Yeah. Well, so the full quote is, the president recently disclosed to trustees that he had an inappropriate relationship with someone seeking public resources to support a personal business and offered to resign. So,
Okay.
Not to speculate, but you can speculate if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to completely drag the guy through the mud, right? The statement
He is an admiral.
That has nothing to do with it. Okay. I just, he's a human and I don't want to accuse him of things that I don't know that he may not have done. All that we know is that he had an inappropriate relationship with a woman who, and that relationship involved him giving public resources, or they were seeking public resources to support their personal business, and he offered to resign. So, who's to say what all of that really means other than he put his hand in a cookie jar he shouldn't put it in? He's no longer president at the university, or at the Ohio State University. So that's a little update of what happened earlier today. What happened earlier in the show is that this man called in, and I put him on the line, and then he wasn't there. We're going to try it again. One of our favorites, Nebraska ball, Mike, celebrating a win over Iowa. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Sorry, I got dropped out.
You're okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
I'm glad to talk to you. Thank you for calling in. It's been a while.
Can we do anything in Chicago?
Like you and me together?
No. This team.
Oh, like win a game? Yeah, absolutely. They can win a game in Chicago. Why wouldn't? I mean, they're going to play a team in Purdue who they were very competitive with, who they ended up going to overtime with, and then they might end up playing Michigan State, who's a team that they beat. I absolutely think they can do things in Chicago.
Okay, so this isn't just we're showing up on Friday and we're going to look good for the cameras and we're not going to play well for 40 minutes.
I mean, how would you be overly disappointed if they were one and done though in the Big Ten tournament?
No, but here's my thing.
Okay, what's your thing?
I wouldn't mind getting to the final.
Oh, I wouldn't. I mean, I absolutely would love to get to the final.
I wouldn't mind staring Michigan down and saying, "Can we do it again? Let's do it again."
I would love for them to win the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, look, I think the Big Ten tournament, Mike, like for me, and I've said this, either win it all or lose the first game. Either go all the way and cut the nets down and have an awesome trophy and like celebrate a great accomplishment, or lose the first game and have some extra rest heading into the NCAA tournament. That's kind of how
my other thing to think about is, are we really staring at Kansas for the second game?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of like I said, my expectation for this team, Mike, is win the first game and then let's see who you have for game number 2. And game number 2, as of right now, according to Bracket Matrix, could be Tennessee, Wisconsin, Louisville, or BYU. Kansas kind of moved up the ranks, and they're a 4 seed.
Out of those 4,
everybody,
maybe Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee would be a tough. I mean, BYU. I mean, they don't have Richie. We
already beat them
in the exhibition, Mike. It wasn't a real game. No, it didn't count, Mike. It did not go on the record. Don't tell me it counted, Mike. I was there. It didn't count.
I understand that.
I think. I mean, look, when they play, so those 4 teams, right? Tennessee, Wisconsin, Louisville. Wisconsin's got John Blackwell. Louisville's got Mikel Brown Jr. and BYU's got AJ Dybanska. Those 3 guys, very dangerous when it comes to playing them in the NCAA tournament, can go off at any moment. But I think, look, Nebraska already beat Wisconsin by 30. Granted, they look a lot better now. Louisville's been kind of inconsistent this year. They lost that game against Clemson. Did not look good a couple of weeks ago. But BYU, they don't have one of their best players, so they could be a beatable team as well. I'm worried. Mike, would you be worried about St. John's? Yeah, I'd be too.
Because that's the New York East Coast toughness that we've never had as a team or a program. And Rick Pitino, he doesn't care.
No, not really.
Whoever he plays is whoever he plays.
That's true. It's been a while since we talked. You got anything else for me?
No.
Okay.
I want this to be a successful. They busted ass to even get here, and I'm proud of them.
I'm glad you are.
I wanted to finish it.
Okay.
I wanted to finish it.
Okay. We'll call in before their first game, and we'll get your official predictions.
All
right. Sounds great. See you, Mike. That felt good.
Look, if your name is Nebraska Ball Mike,
Yes.
you have to be the most rah-rah
Oh, he's not.
guy for the program.
He's not. He's not. He's never been that way. And he never will be that way. And you know what? We're all better for it. Okay. we are all better for it. All right. This show loves contradictions like that. Okay. And to be Nebraska Ball Mike, but then always be super skeptical.
I mean, he thinks
and
they're going to play 2 games of basketball this season, and then it's over.
I did love, though, the we beat BYU already. It was an exhibition game. Okay. You didn't beat BYU already.
Scoreboard.
It'd be interesting. Like I said, my expectation for this team is win the first game. Okay. Win the first game.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't have to play Hawaii or Troy. Hopefully. I don't want to play either of those 14 seeds. But if you do, it is what it is. You'll win that game. And then let's see what matchup you got for the round of 32. I will say this. Things have broken in a way for Nebraska basketball where they are avoiding teams that I would not want to play. A week ago, we were staring down the barrel of, wow, they might have to play St. John's in the round of 32. Or they might have to play maybe even Kansas in the round of 32, or they might have to play Kentucky in the round of 32. Things have broken. Arkansas would have been one of those teams as well. Things have kind of broken in a way where those teams, where I think a lot of them would be very, very tough matchups for Nebraska because they have what we talk about, that athleticism and the size and physicality to hurt them on the boards. Those teams have either overperformed and have gone past the 6th line, or they've underperformed, like Kentucky, who, I don't know, man, like, they're going to make the tournament, and right now they're projected to be a 7 seed. We're going to have some speaks about Mark Pope. They reportedly, and Dickie V just absolutely clobbered them on the air. I mean,
which is amazing because I don't know that he's ever done that in his entire career.
I've never seen that. I've never seen him do that, where he's just, they're telling me they spent $22 million on a roster. I don't see it.
Maybe he's like, hey, on my way out,
it's unbelievable.
I'm going to smack talk somebody.
He's like, hey, I don't know how many more broadcasts I have left. We're going to go scorched earth on these MFers before I'm done.
He is going to get me to watch a first 4 game next week, though.
Okay.
Because Dickie V, first ever March Madness game that he's going to call. All right. I'll dip in.
So Kentucky reportedly has spent $22 million on their roster.
That's a lot.
Okay. And this is simple math, everybody. This is simple math. They've spent $1.15 million on every single win this season.
Whoa.
They've won 19 games.
We talk about this a lot in football.
Yeah.
Bad ROI.
Bad ROI. Nebraska, and let me do this. So I can actually, you do this number. You would do this number divided by, here, I can do the math, quick math right here. Roughly, Nebraska spent, this is the great Moneyball thing, where he's like, the Yankees won 102 games last year, and they spent $1.45 million for every win. You won the same amount of games and spent $232,000. Nebraska roughly has spent anywhere between 115 to 130,000 other wins this season. Pretty neat stuff, if you ask me. Pretty neat stuff. What was neat yesterday? Nebraska's 84-75 win that took extra time, took 5 more minutes of play, went to overtime. The Huskers had a 10-point lead with 5 minutes to play. Iowa ended up storming back, tying the game off of a Combs 3 to make it 70-70. Nebraska was actually leading 66-60, by the way, with 3 minutes to play. What I think happened at the end of the game yesterday against Iowa was Iowa got some high-quality 3-point looks throughout the entirety of the day. I thought that Iowa's ball movement in certain case and instances was really impressive. That corner three, they got that corner three open a ton yesterday. And I think that, Nebraska walled off the paint. I mean, Nebraska did a really good job of putting 2-3 guys in the paint anytime that Iowa drove to the basket. And part of the reason why Nebraska was putting a ton of guys in the paint was obviously, they don't want Iowa to have, get easy buckets and like get to the hoop and everything like that. But I want to harken back to the last time that these two teams played. Part of the reason Nebraska lost was because they got dominated on the boards, because they did not do a good job of clearing the defensive glass. Yesterday, that was not the case at all. Nebraska had 7 offensive rebounds. Nebraska had 5 offensive rebounds. Iowa had 7 offensive rebounds. Iowa only had 10 second chance points yesterday. You go and you compare that to their first game that they played about a month ago. Iowa had 12 offensive rebounds, right? I mean, I would just continue to get second chance opportunity after second chance opportunity. Nebraska shut that down. They did not. They basically held them to half of the offensive boards that they had the previous game. Did a really good job walling off the paint. Iowa got some high quality 3-point looks. They really didn't make them until, they ended up shooting 11 of 30 from the 3-point line. 3 of those 3-pointers came in about the last 3 minutes of the game. So finally things started to fall for the Hawkeyes, but it was quite something. Like, they're showing the crowd shots heading into the overtime period at Pinnacle Bank Arena. And Robin wrote it in his Husker Online article. It just seemed like somebody had vacuumed out all of the air at PBA before that overtime period. And they showed a shot of a guy. And by the way, we already went to commercial. We've already gone to commercial. We've come back from commercial. We're about to inbound the ball. And there's still a fan shot of a dude with his hands on his head and his collar in his mouth, being like, oh my God, how did we get here? Like, distraught. And the rest of the arena was pretty quiet as well, because, you look at the recent history of when these two teams have played, it just seems like Iowa's just kind of gotten that edge, just gotten the tiniest bit better than Nebraska. And I think this team is 5-5 in their last 10 games. It includes a close loss to Michigan. It included an overtime loss to Purdue. It included a close loss to that very team that they're playing. It was one of those things where over the last couple of weeks, Nebraska had been in these very close game situations against these high quality teams, and they lost this game. And they've already lost this game earlier in the season. And, everyone knew how big this game was. Everybody knew the momentum swing that this would provide this basketball program, whether it be a win or a loss. You win this game, you beat your rival, a top team in the net ranking, another quad 1 victory, building that resume to maybe getting a 2 seed. You're heading into the Big Ten tournament as a 2 seed with a double bye, playing at 5:30 on a Friday with a fairly favorable draw, right? You win this game, you're like, wow, hell yeah. Like, we're clicking at the right time. You lose this game, what are we going to be talking about heading into the Big Ten tournament, heading into the NCAA tournament? Well, since Indiana, they had only beaten one team with a winning record. Well, you look at their last 6 quad 1 win opportunities, they've only won 1 of them. Hey, I guarantee you, if Nebraska had blown that lead and lost that game and, ended up being 25-6 and Iowa got that signature win to basically lock them in the NCAA tournament, I guarantee you there would be articles about teams you should pick to be upset in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Nebraska would have been everywhere on those articles. They would have been a top team on hey, here's a team you should fade in the NCAA. And that would have annoyed the crap out of Nebraska fans. It would have lowered the momentum even more. And you would have, people would be less excited about heading into the Big Ten tournament and less excited about heading into the NCAA tournament. And there would be more nervousness, right? Because you see all these stats of them just not playing their best basketball heading into the tournament. You're like, oh man, they're going to get upset and they're still not going to get this win. Well, that didn't happen. They pulled it out. Cale Wardell Jacobson, if you will. 2 threes. Sam Hoiberg assisted on both of those threes, hit a 2-point bucket. Dude was awesome. They, in the end of the second half, Cale, he makes that steal, right? I mean, it's like we're like on pins and needles, like during some of those possessions the last couple of minutes, and Cale strips the ball, goes 92 feet, gets that layup on the other side. Sam causes that turnover. I mean, that Pinnacle Bank Arena is going loud. And then Nick Baugh, man. First off, I want to give a shout out to Connor Onion. Had a great call yesterday. Friend,
good.
Friend of the show, Connor Onion. Should probably let him know that. He was great. Nick Baugh and Connor Onion, low key, pretty great duo.
It's a good booth.
Like, I think you think of like Kugler and Baugh, right? Or, Hummel as like a top analyst. And so I love Robbie Hummel. I'll tell you right now, Connor Onion and Nick Baugh, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Had a great.
We're all going to be working for Nick Baugh one day.
Let me tell you something about Nick Baugh. He was getting a little like emotional during that post-game interview with Sam and Fred.
Yeah.
That was so good. Like, what a moment between those three guys where Nick, I think, did a great job of understanding the magnitude and the specialness of what he was literally in between. He was in between a father who nearly lost his basketball coaching job. And standing to Nick's right is his son, who established the foundation and the culture and became one of his father's most important players. Okay? I'm tell you something right now. Fred better give Sam one hell of a Christmas gift with that new contract extension. Because if it weren't for Sam, he ain't getting that contract extension. And he ain't getting that extra cash, if you know what I mean. Like, Nick is standing in between a great coach in Fred Hoiberg, who did incredible things at Iowa State, but he wasn't given a fair shot in Chicago. I was there for it. Fred was never given a fair shake at Chicago. And the first couple of years really struggled at Nebraska because I didn't think he fully knew what he needed to do to build the roster to win. I think he was trying to figure it out. He figured it out in part because his son was a part of that foundation and part of the culture building and helped give him the vision of what you need to do in order to win in the Big Ten. I think Nick handled that moment brilliantly and handled the emotions of that moment brilliantly and handled the story of Sam Hoiberg, walk on, didn't get offers, didn't get high level offers out of high school because one, it's 5-10, but two, because of the COVID year that happened and the COVID years and the seniors coming back for extra years and had to walk on to his dad's team, couldn't even travel with the guys in his first year, ends up becoming one of, if not the most important Fred Hoiberg era. It was a great moment, great interview. I thought Nick Baugh did a great job, and it's a great story. It's one of the best stories in recent memory in the Nebraska athletic department, that you have a coach's son who isn't 6'5", doesn't have a 6'10" wingspan, isn't a 5-star prospect, isn't just committing to the team because his dad's the coach. No, you have a smaller guard who's overlooked because of his size, who, when he first got onto the roster, it was just, he's, the last name. Yeah, it's Fred's son just on the team. It's Fred's son. I mean, he's not, what is he really going to do? What is he really going to accomplish? And the only reason he ended up getting the opportunity that he got was because Emmanuel Bandamel and Juwan Gary both went down with injury. And Fred had to go to Sam and be like, all right, man, like, this is like, you got to play now. Like, we got no other option. You got to go. And you parlay that opportunity. I mean, the butterfly effect, really, of those two guys getting hurt to then Sam getting that opportunity and then flourishing into the player that he's flourished with, who should at least get an honorable mention for an all Big Ten conference team. And I would not be shocked in the slightest if he ended up being the coach's third team all Big Ten, because the level of defense that he's played throughout the season and the value he's brought to this team cannot be understated. For a team that was projected to finish 14th in the Big Ten standings and end up finish second, he is their most valuable player. So, I mean, it's just an incredible story. It's an incredible story of resilience, belief, overcoming the odds, and then tied in perfectly between the relationship and bond between father and son. And I, you could kind of see Nick Baugh interviewing Sam Hoiberg and Fred, and it's hard not to be tugged at the heartstrings when Sam says, "My idol is my father. The person I looked up to was my dad." And for him to help him reach this success, and it's been quite a while since Fred Hoiberg has had this type of success coaching basketball. He's been that type of guy where everyone knows that Fred Hoiberg is a great coach, but we hadn't seen that full-on result in quite some time. The fact that his son helped him do that is quite incredible. So we'll talk more about this Nebraska basketball game coming up in the next segment. We'll get down to the nitty-gritty. We'll get down to some of the X's and O's. We'll get down to some things that concern me. We'll get down to some things that make me excited for what this team can do in the month of March. All that coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We're watching the WBC right now in studio. The Dominican Republic is currently up 5-0. They're one of the favorites, correct?
Yeah, Fernando Tatis just hit a grand slam.
I saw that Schwarber hit a bomb against Great Britain.
That baseball still has not landed. We will let you know when it does.
Any other updates on the WBC? I have watched very minimal. I watched Chinese Taipei take on Australia.
Hell yeah.
That was a pretty
this
good
is
game.
just such it's a lot of fun because you can see on the faces of the players what it means to them.
I know. They give a damn.
Yeah.
I saw Ernie Clement was like sliding into first.
Really? I missed that.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. The Big Ten men's basketball tournament odds have just dropped.
Ooh.
Michigan minus 125. You are a damn fool if you are picking any team with minus odds to win any sort of tournament. Stop it. Illinois plus 450, Michigan State plus 625, Purdue plus 725, Nebraska's plus 1100, and then long shots.
Purdue has better odds than Nebraska?
Yeah. I think these odds are basically based on how do you match up against Michigan. And I don't disagree with the idea that Nebraska matches up the worst with Michigan amongst Illinois, Michigan State, and Purdue. Granted, nobody has played Michigan closer than the Huskers compared to those other teams. Yes. So now, as time has moved on, Josh Hodson, I don't mean to be that guy. I think Michigan just had a bad day. I really just think like that they've just won so many games since then and have been so good that I just think they rolled out of bed the wrong way when they played Nebraska. They might have overlooked Nebraska too. We're at home. They don't have their third best player. They don't have their second best player. We're just going to crush these guys. We have all the size with Johnson and Mara and, Yaxel Lindenberg and all that. Like, I just think that they probably didn't take Nebraska as seriously maybe as they needed to. And then they got very fortunate that Nebraska basically played 4 guys for 36 minutes and they couldn't do anything at the very end of the game. Michael Severe and I talked about it after the next day. Nebraska ended up losing that game to Michigan in the last couple of minutes because they were just tired. I mean, some of those shots that they were taking were just from exhausted humans. So Michigan minus 125 favorites to win the Big Ten tournament. I don't know. Wisconsin plus 3,000. It's just one of those things where we gave you that stat. In the 2020s, every year there has been a team that didn't play on the Friday, a team that didn't get a double bye who made the NCAA or who made the Big Ten tournament championship. Greg Gard, talked about in his post game, like his teams just always get better as the season moves on. And we do a lot of judging resumes and NCAA tournament teams and seeding based on results that happened in November. But if we're going off of things that have happened recently, Wisconsin has been on a roll. And look, they've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Michigan State. They've beaten Illinois. They went to Mackey Arena. They went on the road to Purdue and beat Purdue. Boyd, hell of a basketball player. So is John Blackwell. That team's, I think plus 3,000 is worth a little sprinkle on Wisconsin to win the Big Ten tournament. That could also be a team that can make a sneaky second weekend run in the NCAA tournament. We have some NFL news. I guess it might warrant breaking news.
Do we need to hit it?
Not really. Well, I don't even know where it is.
That's right here.
Okay, you go ahead. Kenneth Walker has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, no.
Congratulations, Chiefs fans. Kenneth Walker is going to make $14.35 million next year. Tom Pelissero, our boy, Tommy P., wrong. Said he didn't think that Kenneth Walker was going to make about $15 million in free agency. He's making just about that, 14.35 to join the Kansas City Chiefs, who had the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs had the lowest explosive run rate in NFL history last year.
Oh, what happened to their running back?
Well, a lot of things happened to their running back, and a lot of things happened to their quarterback. A lot of things happened to that team. But so much for, and here's what I think happened. Like, first off, I think Kenneth Walker is a really good addition to the Chiefs. I think he's
definitely,
and the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you know what makes a pass game better? A run game.
Yeah.
Okay. They need a run game. And especially with the fact that their attempts to have an explosive pass game have fallen a little bit at the wayside with the fact they haven't been able to draft that Tyreek Hill replacement. Sky Moore, Xavier Worthy being the two candidates that they thought could do that, and one of them isn't on the team anymore, and the other one just hasn't really lived up to the hype yet. They need a run game. They were 25th last year in total rushing yards last season. They go ahead and they sign K9, $14.35 million. It's a 3-year deal that'll total at $43.05. The max, so 28 of that contract is fully guaranteed. So there's kind of a fake year, if you will. If I had to guess here, 28 point, that means that the first 2 years are guaranteed, the third year is not. So they could probably cut him after 2 seasons if he's not living up to the billing. Good signing for Kansas City. I think KC wanted Jeremiah Love at the 9th overall draft pick, but I just think that as more teams and more scouts have eyes on Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame, and after his incredible combine, it was pretty clear that he probably wasn't going to get to 9 overall, that they go ahead and they sign Kenneth Walker. So do they go ahead and draft a guy like Caleb Downs with the 9th overall draft pick? Do they hope that a guy like Reuben Bain drops to 9? Are they willing to take a shot on a guy whose arms are like Tyrannosaurus Rex arms? And I've watched the Reuben Bain tape. First off, I don't think he gets enough credit as a run stopper. I think Reuben Bain is a really good run stopper. Some of his highlights, I think that tackles don't necessarily get the best jumps off of when he gets some of his sacks, and then he's super quick off the line, and that's part of the reason why. I just worried about him getting caught up with longer armed offensive tackles and higher end offensive tackles. I think Reuben Bain is going to be a really good player in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. I think it'd be a good pick for Kansas City if he were to get there. I'm not in love with him as much as I am David Bailey, and the measurements do worry me. Okay. There really hasn't. Alec Pierce, by the way, he signed with the Indianapolis Colts, the largest free agent signing of a wide receiver of all time. So the reason why this happened, though, is that everybody else doesn't get to free agency. They all just sign contract extensions. Like they never let him go that far. Alec Pierce is kind of the perfect candidate for that, where he's like, he's good, but he's not Jay Jetters or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase or Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams or any of those top end wide receivers. And so it makes sense that he made it all the way to free agency. But he signs a deal, I believe it was $27 million a year. Another breaking news here. Guy that got traded, not breaking, but guy that got traded from Miami to Philadelphia, a defensive end who played really well for the Eagles. And I think the Eagles were hoping they were going to hold on to them. Jalen Phillips going to the Carolina Panthers. Listen to this deal for Jalen Phillips. 4 years, $120 million, $80 million guaranteed. My goodness, Mr. Phillips. Good for you. Carolina bolstering their ability to get to the passers. Laramie Tunsil, the guy who's been basically traded everywhere. Miami to Houston. Currently, right now with the Washington Commanders, he's reached a 2-year contract extension, $30 million. Those numbers will be rolling on in throughout the entire day because it is the beginning of the legal tampering period in the NFL, which means that teams can officially go ahead and talk. Now, this season, they can talk directly with some of these players. They have Zooms. Everybody's entitled to have Zooms with the players if they so choose. I think it's 5 Zooms per team. So these will be coming in all day. Jalen Watson, cornerback, signing with the LA Rams. The Rams already, by the way, traded for Trent McDuffie, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, signed Jalen Watson, the 2-time Super Bowl corner, to a 3-year, $51 million deal, $34 million guaranteed. Still waiting to see where Devin Lloyd will go. Still waiting to see where Tariq Woolen will go. Still waiting to see where Trey Hendrickson will go as these deals are coming on in. Another one, Michael Pittman, just right now, traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they sign Alec Pierce, the Colts do, and then they to, I guess, make a little bit room for that deal and just give Pierce the entirety of the room at this point, trade Pittman to the Steelers. We are still waiting on to see whether or not Aaron Rodgers will go ahead and be the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we will continue to keep up with all the things happening in the NFL here on 1620 The Zone. Coming up next, let's talk about Braden Frager. Let's talk about Braden. We got to have a convo because he's important, and I'm not just noticing things. I had a pretty long dialogue with some people yesterday about what we saw from number 5. And I think Nebraska basketball, with or without Braden Frager, can win an NCAA tournament game. I think with or without Braden Frager and his good performances can make the second weekend. But I don't think they go any farther than that if number 5 is a performer. So let's talk about him and what's happened over the last couple of weeks, because he went from a guy where when they were playing Ohio State and when they were playing Michigan State and when they were in big moments to win games, last 4 minutes of the game, hey, you got to go ahead. You got to win this one for your team. He was given the ball. He was given the opportunity. Yesterday, no, didn't happen. Did not occur. Why is that? We talk about that next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 Does So.
Over the weekend, I had a pretty big trade. Everyone knew I wanted Maxx Crosby to be a Bear. I mean, who didn't want Maxx Crosby to be on their team?
Good point by you.
Cowboys, Eagles, Bears, all very much in on trying to get the services of the defensive end from the Las Vegas Raiders. It ends up being the Baltimore Ravens who go ahead and grab Maxx Crosby. Here's a fun fact for everybody. The Baltimore Ravens, in their 31-year history, had never traded a first-round pick for a veteran player. In their 31 years. And by the way, for good reason, you go ahead and you look at the first-round picks that the Baltimore Ravens have made since they have become an NFL franchise, include Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, Joe Flacco, C.J. Mosley, Ronnie Stanley, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Lindenbaum was a first-round center that they drafted in 2022. He's probably going to end up being the highest-paid center of all time in the history of the NFL. So they've had a pretty damn good track record of drafting in the first round, which is part of the reason why they've never traded those picks. They traded 2 of them because last season they were 28th in pressure rate, totaling 30 sacks. They were 30th out of 32 teams in the NFL. So filling that need. The Kansas City Chiefs filled a need earlier today when they picked up the services of Kenneth Walker, a 3-year deal, $14.5 million each year for Kenneth Walker. I believe those first 2 years will be guaranteed for K9, who had over 600 rushing yards in his final 5 games and helped lead the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl in which he won the MVP. So things are going down here in the NFL. And we have one more before we get to what I want to talk about. Breaking news. The Miami Dolphins have found their quarterback. They have signed Malik Willis to a multi-year deal. Almost certainly takes Miami out of the quarterback market. They pick number 11, Ty Simpson. Not happy that Malik Willis is going to be a Miami Dolphin. We are still awaiting numbers as this news is fresh. Adam Schefter broke the news, so congratulations to Schefter. He breaks all the news.
I guess. Congrats. Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'd love to be a Field Yates or an Albert Breer where all I do is sit on my butt and wait for Schefter to tweet, and then I make a quote tweet about a very innocuous stat that maybe I do you think they
I had this too, but I want to add
add that this is the first time that Miami signed a quarterback over $25 million. It's a 3-year deal, according to Ian Rappaport. $67.5 million deal. $45 million fully guaranteed. If you want to do the math, that's $22.5 million a year for Mr. Malik Willis, $2.5 million more than what Justin Fields signed to be the Jets quarterback last year. If you want to look here at my notes,
I do.
I set the over-under at 26.5. Not that great of a line, but we're an honest show here. So Malik Willis will be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Cool. You know? Cool. We'll see what happens. It's a fairly small sample size, and you're working a ton off of, what he accomplished as a backup, and you're also working a ton off of what the people in Green Bay thought of him during his time as the backup to Jordan Love in Wisconsin. At the same time, though,
those are all his people, though, in Miami now.
Bang. Who was in Green Bay last year? Jeff Hafley, the head coach of Miami, and the current Miami Dolphin general manager, also in Green Bay last year. So that's why Willis goes to South Beach. Hey, no state income tax. Attaboy Malik. You love to see former Titans succeed, right?
They often do when they leave Nashville.
Somebody who I would like to succeed more, he wears number 5 for the Nebraska basketball team. His name's Braden Frager. I don't know, man. It was weird yesterday. He just... when he came back off of the ankle injury to Washington, so he hurts his ankle against Washington. 11 days later, he goes and he plays Illinois. He only shot 3s in that Illinois game, and I think that was the nicest way of him communicating. I am still not 100% because when Braden was kind of at his peak, I would say, this season, playing his best basketball, he was doing both. He was hitting step back 3s with an absurd amount of confidence while also slashing to the basket. And we really didn't see that out of him, post Washington injury. And then, he slowly kind of started to come back into the fold. And I think as the weeks went on, you could tell that he was getting his feet under him, getting to the bucket more. But it just hasn't really been the same since the injury. And then yesterday, watching him play, he just seemed hesitant. I don't know. He just seemed he was picking up his dribble more. Sturts was getting in front of him, locking on his chest a ton. He didn't seem very confident. He didn't have that swagger. He didn't have kind of that chutzpah that we've seen him have this season, where it just seems like it doesn't matter to him that he's a young guy on a veteran team. It just seemed like there would be moments where he would throw caution to the wind and go and get his bucket and do his thing. And his performance, especially off the bench, and the spark that he gave this team, elevated them to being when we were having the Final Four conversation about this Nebraska basketball team, when there were people who legitimately thought, wow, this team can make a deep, deep run, when they were ranked 5th in the country at one point this year, it's when Braden Frager was playing his best basketball. He just seems off. He just seems off. He just doesn't have that same, I don't know. He just looked kind of slow yesterday. Tried to be aggressive, but would get shut down early. When was the last time we really saw him, step back and knock down a three and hit it with a ton of confidence? And then you see that picture of, everybody is kind of in the huddle and they're discussing, they're talking about what they're trying to do to win this game. And he was just kind of sitting alone on the bench away from everybody. And then, you're in a crucial moment in this game against Iowa. There's 3 minutes and 23 seconds left. And I mentioned this before we went to break. Against Ohio State and against Michigan State, who did Fred Hoiberg trust the most to give him the ball with under 4 minutes to go and make a bucket? Who did he trust? Trusted Braden Frager. He wasn't in the game. Got subbed out. So it's just one of those things where he did not have his best stuff yesterday. And it's been a little up and down since that injury against Washington. And if Nebraska is going to make a really memorable, my God, where were you type run in the NCAA tournament, it's going to be because we have a Braden Frager game. That's the difference. If you're going to make it to the Elite Eight, if you're going to win that Sweet 16 game against one of the top seeds in your region, it's because you just have a guy that says, all right, hop on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to win this for us. I'm going to lead us to the Elite Eight. We are going to have the Braden Frager game. I don't know. He just doesn't seem capable of that right now. I did not see a player yesterday that has the confidence and really has the ability to do that. And it's disappointing because I think earlier in the year and before he got hurt against Washington, we were talking about, man, could he go to the draft? That was a conversation of if he continues to play like this, it's going to be hard to deny a team wanting to draft a 19-year-old like that. Now it's a very different conversation. And I'm not going to talk about the prospect of him, transferring, right? Because I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't have any sources. I don't have anybody telling me that, this is, he might go here. I don't have any of that, right? And so, but unfortunately, if you go on Twitter, there are fans and people who love Nebraska basketball who are now labeling that on him. And that's just a very unfortunate place to be. It's a very, very unfortunate place to be. And it's been a very weird kind of arc for Braden Frager at this point, in terms of goes from a guy of we're hearing a lot about him in the offseason. Oh, he can be a dude who can pop, to he does actually pop and he looks great. And Nebraska's going on this insane run in part because of his emergence as one of the better players on the team, to he suffers that injury against Washington and just hasn't fully gotten back to where he was before that. To now you have fans who are tweeting, if you don't want to be here, don't be here, it's just very strange. It's very strange and very, unfortunate just how things can turn on a dime like that. But I'll tell you this right now. He still has the ability to drop 20 on any given night. He's still incredibly talented. He's still a vital part of this team off the bench, especially when they're trying to get those second unit minutes. And if they're going to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, it's going to be in part because he just has a game where he cannot be denied. And we saw a couple of those games this year where he could not be denied. And yesterday, he was denied. He was denied a lot. And that's not what you want to see when you are on the heels of going to the NCAA tournament. And you definitely hate seeing that visual of everybody in the huddle discussing, who they're guarding and what they're going to do. And there's only one guy who isn't in that huddle. He's sitting alone on the bench, and that's Braden Frager. And you hope that he can kind of get everything right, because he just seemed, it was weird, Josh. He just seemed hesitant yesterday. It just seemed off visually, just watching on your television, just seemed off. And if Nebraska is going to make a deep run, he can't be that way. All righty, coming up next. Sorry to Alex Sindelar. It was a little delayed. We forgot about
it's a late lunch.
Yeah, we forgot about the structure of our show for a good minute. But we needed to talk.
We had to go through the Nebraska basketball segments.
We did. And the NFL segments. And we need to talk about Braden Frager.
That was live breaking stuff, right?
Now, yes, it was. We're doing live reporting on the spot here. Johnny on the spot, Matt McMaster, giving you all the breakdown of Malik Willis and Kenneth Walker and Alec Pierce all signing to new teams. The Chicago Bears just signed a defensive lineman. I never even heard of his name before, but apparently we're going to sign him to a $12 million deal for 2 seasons. Mazel tov. We'll figure it out. I'm sure I'm going to get really mad at him in the middle of the year at some point next season. So that will be fun to look forward to, as the Dominican Republic currently leads Israel 5-1 or 5-0 with one hit in the World Baseball Classic. Coming up next, our World Baseball Classic confidant, Josh Hodson, tells us the odd news from across the country and the world here on Middays with Matt.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
I always forget you're not that type of producer that's going to turn my microphone on.
You turn your cell phone around these parts.
You looked me dead in my eye the first day we worked together, and you go, I will do anything for you. But I'm not going to turn your microphone on. You do that yourself. By the way, we've been cooking in the Matt McMaster, Josh Odson production studios. Just warning people, we're cooking. Going with peanut oil, if you will. And we're cooking because Josh Odson has some incredible news stories to come. Josh, what do you have?
I have myself all alone.
Oh, wow. Austin Hooper is
There you
somebody who doesn't have himself anymore. He's over with the Atlanta Falcons. He has a family.
Falcons making moves.
This team is your family, Michael. Protect them. Or it's a Dominic Toretto movie.
It's all about family.
Oh, but no, that's Sylvester. Try that again.
It's all about family.
That is Rocky.
They're extremely similar impressions.
You know, I used to hold you right here. You used to fit in the palm of my hand right here. And I used to say, this kid's going to be the greatest kid that ever lived. And you grew up nice and you grew up great. But at some point, you started pointing the finger.
Whether it's by an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
You, me, no one's going to hit as hard as life. All right? It will keep you there if you let it. See, that's my Sylvester's terrible. It's more New York. All right, let's go, Josh.
We go to Southern England where the annual, and forgive my voice during this segment. But
no, it's great. It's sexy. You
Little
sound like
power
Phoebe
through.
Buffet, like in that episode where she gets sick and then she's hot.
That's
she
right.
Sings great. Smelly
remember
cat,
that.
smelly cat. Why aren't we feeding you?
The annual wife carrying race was
What?
held over the weekend.
The what?
Wife carrying race.
Okay.
One of the country's quirkiest annual sporting events. It's exactly like it sounds. Strong husbands carry their wife on their shoulders somehow, some way.
This sounds like an argument waiting to happen. This sounds like the worst argument waiting to happen. Can you? I'm going to tell you right now. If you're a true friend of mine, and you're listening to this show, and I have a wife, and you have a wife, don't you ever sign up for a wife carrying race and then invite me. Because here's what's going to happen. You know where I'm going. My wife and your wife or anybody's wife would watch your friends in a wife carrying race and say, why don't we do that? Why don't we participate in that? And what are you going to say? No, I don't want to do that. And she's going, why? I'm too heavy for you to carry me. I'm too heavy for us to be. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're really going to want to get the okay before you sign up.
Yeah, man. What? Am I too heavy for us to be in the wife carrying race? Well, yeah.
Yeah. I want to win.
That sounds like a one-way ticket to sleeping on the couch. Okay. Who won the wife carrying contest?
A pair of Finnish competitors from the country of Finland. Timu Tovanen and Yada Lainanen. Great pronunciations by me. The prize, great question. I'm glad you asked. A barrel of local ale.
Really? That's it? I just carried my wife
A
all the way
barrel.
down this hill.
A whole
and
barrel.
I just get a barrel. I get a keg. Are you kidding me?
Silly costumes are encouraged, and racers can be male or female, carrying anyone over the age of 18 and weighing at least 50 kilograms. Let me do the conversion for you. That's 110 pounds.
Okay. I just would never sign up for anything like this. I just think this is a bad argument waiting to happen.
Takes a real special couple to agree to do
Yeah,
this.
it takes a real stupid couple to agree to this. Unless you're like into CrossFit. Unless you're like the most competitive super fitness couple ever and you want to just beat everybody and compete and be winners. I mean, that itself, I would hate to invite those people to a housewarming party. But, you know, the more the merrier, I guess. Whatever works for you, works for you.
And here's the
What do you guys do on the weekend? What do you guys do for fun? I carry her.
416 yards is
What?
how long
That
the
is
course
exhausting.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you right now, if for whatever reason you're a woman from the age of 21 to 27 and you're interested in me and you're listening to the show, I'm going to warn you, I would never do anything like this with you.
It's probably a positive for a lot of people. 1 minute 45 seconds, the winning time
That's
from that
impressive.
Finnish couple.
Wow.
A British couple finished 4 seconds behind them to take second place.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for them. A bunch of ringers coming in from across borders to win the very famous South England wife carrying competition.
That's
What's
right.
next? What do we have?
We have a new Guinness World Records set. This is a
great.
German woman.
What did she do?
She identified.
That's not a record.
Hold on. 19 Barbie dolls in 3 minutes
That's not a record.
while blindfolded.
That's embarrassing.
There. Now it's not a record. Now
That's
it's
not a
embarrassing.
record. That's made up. That's stupid. Who finds out that they're good at that?
Well, Bettina Dorfman found out. She has a collection of 18,500 Barbie dolls.
Wow, get a life. Jeez.
I would agree with that.
Why? 18,000? It's not like Barbie dolls are cheap, by the way.
So,
how much does one Barbie doll cost? Cost of one Barbie. The cost of one Barbie doll currently, let's see, if my computer would work, and it's not working.
Around this time every day, the internet just gets really
35.
slow. $35?
Now, I think we're going to have to.
Tariffs have hit the Barbie world.
I mean, what tariffs haven't hit any world? I mean, this is $35 is ridiculous. So, by the way, 18,000. Just do some quick math here. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on a plastic doll.
And that's just at face value. You know, some of the more rare ones or the older ones are probably more expensive than that, right?
That's ridiculous.
Now, essentially what you're doing in this when you're blindfolded and trying to
identify
the Barbie, you're just feeling what kind of clothes this Barbie's wearing. Like, I don't know how you can.
I love people with hobbies. Whatever hobby you got it. All right. You know, and I'm allowed to judge you though on your hobby. And if your hobby is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a plastic toy, I am well within my right to judge you on that and to make fun of you about it. But then to take it a step farther and go, yeah, I'm a Guinness World Record holder. Oh, what do? I blindfold myself and I feel a plastic doll and I tell you which one it is. That's ridiculous.
I mean, really, what does the difference between like Dr. Barbie,
you know what?
and
Wacky Guess Wednesday.
Secretary Barbie feel like?
Well, I mean, one of them has glasses, Josh. How do you not know this?
Okay.
You know.
Now Bettina is German. I don't know if she speaks English. I assume she does, but
I would love to talk to this woman on Wacky Guess Wednesday.
Okay.
And I don't mean that, by the way.
Oh.
I would just make fun of her.
Damn.
And just be like, why?
I mean, that would be entertaining for the people to listen to,
It
too.
probably would be entertaining. I don't know. It'd be tough to take Bettina home to a family dinner. Oh, Bettina, what do you do, Bettina? Oh, I'm a Barbie collector. Nothing wrong with Barbies. Collecting them is crazy. All right, final story.
Springfield, Missouri is where we go, where a woman is jailed on burglary charges after authorities say she entered a home, spread cereal across the floor, and petted the family's dog while the homeowner was outside doing yard work. The incident happened on a Tuesday in Springfield, Missouri. According to investigators, a witness told police he smelled something burning and went downstairs to find Tierra Smith petting the dog while eating Fruity Pebbles. Investigators say they had made a mess spread across the floor and the stove. Investigators say she told police she did not want to stay in jail because she needed to go to court in Taney County. I assume that's nearby.
She has good taste in ice cream or in cereal.
In cereal? Fruity Pebbles?
I love Fruity Pebbles.
Okay. Do you do the Cocoa Pebbles or?
No, just some Fruity. I just do Fruity. But you got to make sure with the Fruity Pebbles, there is a science to how you put the milk in, right? You got it.
Right.
First off, always cereal before the milk. But then when you put the milk in, you want to put it on the sides of the bowl. And so it gets mushy. right? You don't want mushy Fruity Pebbles. You just don't want the crunch of a Fruity Pebble. So if you put it on the side, then you can get the nice crunchiness with a little bit of milk. This woman's a psycho. This woman is crazy. I think that the man who found her had incredible self-control.
So people in the chat are asking if drugs were involved.
The immediate first question in my head was, what was she hopped up on?
The article has no information on drugs. I am looking at what I believe to be the mugshot, and I'm going to go ahead and answer yes. She looks under the influence or coming off of something that would put her under the influence.
Now, at least she didn't do anything violent.
Right.
I mean, if you break into my house and the worst thing you're doing is petting the dog, I feel more bad for you than I do. Let's go B&E, though.
Absolutely.
And she had priors, right? I mean.
Yeah, well, apparently, because she was due in court somewhere else. So she couldn't stay in jail. Look, I'll go to jail with you, but I can't stay.
I got my 1030.
Previous
across the
engagement.
town. It's in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
All right. What a weird, odd news today. A woman who likes Barbie dolls, men carrying their wives 417 yards in southern England, and we had a drugged up woman petting a dog while spreading Fruity Pebbles on the ground.
Probably drugged
You know
up
what?
woman.
I wouldn't mind though if there was a burglar who broke into houses and didn't steal anything, but then his bit was he just did very inconvenient things to the houses. That would be really fun.
That would be.
Like, can you imagine a guy breaks into a house and instead of taking anything, he just switches where all the pots are in the kitchen?
Shuffles your magazines on the coffee table.
Everyone's got a spice drawer. Like he moves the spice drawer 3 cabinets over. Like you come down to the kitchen, you're in an entirely different house. The plates are in the pantry now, and the pantry is all spread. Like that would be a great bit.
I've always thought it would be a great bit. This was when I was a child, so I was an idiot.
Oh, go ahead. Some people don't grow out of that.
I'll break into houses and I'll steal the TV remote. Nothing else. I won't move anything else. Nothing else is out of place. I'll just frustrate the hell out of everyone whose house I invade.
No, seriously, I think that would be a great bit. You broke into a house and you just did things to make everything inconvenient. You know, you just switch the labels on all of the different items that you have in the kitchen.
Unscrew the salt and pepper shaker lid.
Can you imagine?
But not all the way off.
Can you imagine if somebody just broke into your house and they just opened up the fridge and just left it open for the entirety of the night?
That would be great because
would that solve some problems in your house? Actually,
no, couples would fight that because
yes,
you left the cabinet open. You left the fridge open all day. You idiot.
Now I got to throw away a salad that we were going to throw away anyway in 2 days.
Honey, I'm telling you, I did not leave that cabinet open. Don't lie to me, Kurt. This is just like that time 4 years ago.
I feel like we're getting a little real right now. I don't think that's make believe.
I'm just telling you what couples do.
Okay. I wouldn't know. You're correct. My lens into a dysfunctional relationship is only through the Odsons and through nothing else. I can't relate. I've never been in anything like that before.
Bet Free Mike in the chat.
Yeah, Bet Free Mike was calling his girlfriend hot earlier in the chat.
My house was broken into 3 years ago. Nothing stolen, but they left my front door open and the cat got out.
Some asshat broke into my mom's car and stole the garage door opener.
Oh.
And
did they ever come back to your house?
Well, we had a Ring camera, and so we saw that the garage door opener was taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was fine. My mom ended up having to change the code and get a new garage door opener.
Okay.
But it was just super inconvenient for 2 weeks having to figure this whole thing out.
Well, that's what they tell you on the news is that's how they do it. They break in one time and steal your garage door opener. Then the next time they just let themselves in.
Aaron's got a great comment. He texted in, going to break into Matt's apartment and change all the Bear stuff out for Packer stuff. Here's the thing. If you want to frame Joey Colbert, if you don't like Joey, I'm going to tell you right now, anything Packer related would go ahead and just immediately make me think he's doing something. Mike puts in the YouTube chat, my girlfriend is hot. Thanks for acknowledging.
Congrats, Mike.
Matt, you got to lean into the and more often with Odson's bits, say Alex Sindelar. Yeah, the Josh Odson genius, apparently, Alex Sindelar.
I have thought about making everyone at 1620 The Zone take improv classes.
I've taken improv classes.
You've taken improv classes.
You don't think I'm good at improv?
No, that's not what I meant at all.
Wow. You doubt my acting ability. I was Willy Wonka in the school play. Crazy. How dare you, Josh Hudson? Just so rude.
There has to be footage of this, and I want it.
My mom has it.
That's the dream.
She's not going to come on.
Mama on Middays with Matt.
Or we
Guess Wednesday.
Or I think Connor Happer and Mike Schaefer want to bring my dad onto their show.
It seems like they were ready to integrate him.
I think it'd be so funny if they interviewed my dad every Friday. Should we read the Claypool text messages at some point? I'm so mad.
Dramatic reading, yeah.
I'm so mad. The one time I forgot my phone at my desk was when we were going to read my dad's Chase Claypool text messages, because that would have been hysterical if we did it. He hates Ryan Poles. I kind of respect it. Charles goes, the whole show was improv. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
I take an improv class every day with Josh Hudson.
Absolutely.
It's called Middays with Matt. And coming up next on Middays with Matt, we talk about Husker football. Because we have to. No, we have to. Stop it.
We want to.
No, shut up. No, you're wrong.
I love talking about this team and how it will definitely succeed because they didn't say anything in the month of February.
It's all Dylan's fault. That's what we said. They said that the whole time, the entire time, even when Dylan was here, they were like, it's this guy's fault. He's terrible. Kind of awkward. We talk about it next, coming up on Middays.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All righty, we have a new addition to the Dead to Us list. I am so pissed. So
Whoa, okay, let me pull my Canva
this
up.
This is ridiculous. We have 2 people going.
2.
All right, this is insane.
Whoa, this is okay.
So
okay,
I subscribe to PFF. Okay?
brag,
I know, but it's not a brag. I pay over $100 for it. Okay,
brag. This guy's got PFF money,
and it's for my job. Okay, and it was really useful during the football season. The snap counts, the grades for college football. With Dylan's stats, it was great. And today is a very big day for PFF because my team and other teams are going to be signing free agents, and some of which I'm not really familiar with, or I have an idea of how good they are. But then PFF kind of like paints the picture of it. This is an ultimate PFF day. I pay a lot of money to have PFF, and I got locked out of my account 5 days ago.
5 days.
Okay. So then I email them and I go, hey, I was locked out of my account. And PFF has this guy, John P., whoever the hell this John P. guy is. Okay. He goes, hey.
Like P, the letter P?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, thanks for reaching out. We apologize for the inconvenience. We reset your account. You should be all set. Go ahead, use this link, log back in. So I log back in. I just used the password that I had there. It was the wrong password. I got locked out again.
Whoa.
I just sent a very angry email to PFF. I just Karen. All right. This is the first time in my life I have Karen. I go.
Everyone remembers their first Karen.
My account, I've never had a Karen. I haven't, so I don't remember. But this is the first moment when I acted as a Karen. I email. My account was once again locked. This is ridiculous.
Oh.
I get my password wrong once, and I have to go through the process again. Please fix this ASAP. I need to use PFF for work, is what I told him. John P.
I love this. I'm laughing, but I love this.
This is ridiculous.
So is John P on the Dead to Us list, or is
No,
PFF?
PFF
Okay.
and John P. And Mike, you know what, Mike? Here it is. Mike's got it. He goes, John P. P-E-E. That's how we're going to spell his name. Because he's a piss weasel. That's why. A bunch of piss weasels.
I like that as an
PFF.
insult.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I need to know, because the Bears to sign Kobe Bryant, who, by the way, I'm a big fan of Kobe Bryant, the strong safety for Seattle, had 4 interceptions last year. I was a fan of Kobe Bryant when he played for the University of Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. He was on the team that ended up playing Alabama in the college football playoff. That's how good Kobe Bryant is.
Kobe didn't play college ball.
No, I'm not talking about Lower Merion High School Kobe Bryant. I'm talking about the Kobe Bryant who plays in the secondary in the NFL, and it spells his name C-O-B-Y.
Took Brandy to the prom.
How do you know that? Is that known knowledge?
That is pretty known about Kobe, yeah.
I do know that Julian Edelman took Jerry Rice's daughter to prom.
Whoa, Stones.
That's known knowledge. You know that one?
I did not know that. Thank you for educating me.
Oh, we have a great article that I'll read during the break from Greg Smith. Just got reposted. It's the update on Nebraska football's big visit weekend. They had, they go like double digit 9 or 10 4 and 5 stars come visit Lincoln over the weekend.
All weekend.
Pictures.
It was, I was trying to get some information on, like baseball scores and what basketball teams were doing what. And it was just Timmy V tweets, this guy, ooh, look at him with his picture with Matt Rule. Look at
those were the most uncandid photos I've ever seen in my life. Okay.
I'm like, damn, Tim's busy.
But like they tried taking candid photos, but they were very much warned that candid photos were being taken. So they were acting uncandidly, if you will. You know, it seemed like some of those pictures came straight from Getty Images, you know. It was something. But they had a good visit weekend. I want to read this tweet.
Please do.
Okay. We're going to give this tweet proper credit. So basically, Steve Sipple on his show on 93.7 The Ticket basically said, I've never felt a spring football anywhere where I've been, this is Steve. I've never felt a spring football anywhere I've been with less interest out of a state that has ridiculous interest. Okay. So basically what Sip was saying was like, it just doesn't seem like a ton of people have, interest in the spring football. And we've talked about this over and over again. It's a quiet spring. They're keeping it quiet internally. We're not it seems like the fans have kind of mutually agreed in a way that we're not overreacting or freaking out about the spring football. And here's where it dawns from, guys. Everybody knows this. Basically, this spring is quiet because Matt Rule and Nebraska football knows that they stand nothing to benefit by having a loud spring and hyping up the team and trying to make everything that they're going to be good and raising expectations. That doesn't benefit them. And Husker fans in tow have agreed to not overreact to things that they hear from spring football because we have now done this pattern where we overreact, we drink the Kool-Aid, we're super optimistic going into a season, and then we get disappointed. And people are done getting disappointed. So there's a yin and a yang here. Matt Rule, Nebraska football, they do not want to set up unrealistic expectations for themselves heading into a season where they have a really tough schedule, where they play Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Iowa, and Illinois. 6 really, really good teams, okay? They're not going to do that. And Nebraska football fans don't want to be bamboozled again. They don't want to fall for it again. And so we've had this kind of conjoined, kind of quiet spring. Skurs News, at Skurs News on Twitter, responds to, the 93.7 ticket account that, explained that there's not a lot of interest around the spring cycle. Skurs News writes, I agree. Been a Husker fan for 30 years. I've never seen the level of enthusiasm this low. People just don't seem to care anymore. Maybe it's that basketball is doing good and people are just focused on that right now. It's crazy. Look, I think it dawns from this. It just dawns for with being disappointed that people have been over the last couple of seasons, they don't want to set themselves up for disappointment again. That's what I think it really dawns from. But I will say this, and I say this with the most love and respect for Nebraska football and Nebraska football fans. And this comes from somebody who has not grown up in this fan base, who has not been here for 30 years, okay? Who is not, I wasn't born and bred in Nebraska, very much adopted and very happy to be adopted in this fan base. Guys, to everybody else, this is kind of normal. This is pretty, like there aren't that many places across the country where it's like a loud spring is the norm. There aren't too many places in the country where it's like we're freaking out about, articles and things that are going on in spring practices and we're hanging on to every word at the pressers. It happens at some places. Don't worry. Like I'm not saying Nebraska is unique. It happens at Ohio State and Michigan and Alabama and A&M and Texas. It happens at plenty of blue blood programs, but for a vast majority of college football teams, there's no such thing as a loud spring or a quiet spring. It just, things kind of go. Things just happen. This is okay. It's fine. It doesn't have to be one way or the other, right? I don't think and the reason why I bring this tweet up and I say what I say is I don't want people to think any differently or have any different expectations about Nebraska football because it's a loud spring or it's a quiet spring. I don't really think it makes that big of a difference. Right? I think there are reasons on both sides because of it. And yeah, kind of just happens. And by the way, to Skurs News' point, he writes, maybe it has something to do with basketball. Yeah, it probably does. Nebraska basketball is having the greatest season they've ever had in school history right now. They've already tied the school record for wins in a season. They have 2 more games left. And both of those games, they're going to be higher seeded than the opponent that they play. Right? Nebraska basketball is killing it. They're getting a ton of attention. That's great for the Nebraska athletic department. That's great to have another sport that has an insane amount of interest. That's great that Pinnacle Bank Arena is getting sold out and making money. And a time and place in college sports where money is key, where money is the factor, where money in a lot of cases rules all. For Nebraska basketball to have this successful season and be the revenue generator it's become is massive for that athletic department. So to me, this whole quiet spring, loud spring, what does it do for the team? I don't want to insult anybody who puts a lot of stake into it and say that's nothing. I just don't think it's that big of a deal whether or not it's quiet or loud. I think that this team just needs to get better. And I don't blame fans for saying, you know what? I've done this song and dance before. I bought into this player taking next steps. I've bought into this unit being great. I bought into, they brought in transfers here and them not performing. I get it from a fan's perspective. Basketball's killing it. Baseball just had one hell of a weekend against Michigan State. Softball's one of the best teams in the country. Wrestling just had a really good performance in the Big Tens, finishing third behind Penn State. 5 guys on the Big Ten, on Nebraska's wrestling team, came in second in the Big Ten championships. There's a lot of really good things if you're other fans of other sports to be cheering for, to look forward to. We've had this conversation before on this very show, that outside of Nebraska football, the Nebraska athletic department is killing it. The Nebraska athletic department they're great at softball. They have a team that's going to be a top 3 seed in the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. They have a really good wrestling program. They have a baseball program that's playing good ball right now. You know, they have a women's basketball team that very well could get into the NCAA tournament. Like, a lot of good things going. There's a lot of good things going in the right direction here. So, you know, I think it's okay that the spring is quiet. It's a great comment right now in the YouTube chat from Dawson. Dawson goes, spring is only important for the team, not for the fan. And it's as important as the fan wants to make it. When the fan doesn't want to make it that important, it's fine. Guys, that's kind of normal. It's kind of normal. It's kind of normal. And it's okay. I don't think there's any reason. I'm not saying that this guy is overreacting or underreacting, but I just don't think there's a whole lot of reason to buy stock into it. If the team doesn't want to, wants to have more of a kind of nonchalant, laid back spring in terms of media, or in terms of narratives, and if the fans don't want to overreact to whatever narratives or where things are being written, that's anybody's choice. So I don't think it's that big. Talked about it in the crossover with Mike Schaefer. The whole emphasis on off-schedule plays and everything like that, and Anthony Calandria and everything he can do off schedule. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of instances where Dylan Raiola, where he was a traffic cone and he just stood in the pocket and he couldn't be elusive at all. And a lot of times I think he made the offensive line look way worse than what it actually was. To suggest, though, that he didn't make any off-schedule plays, or the reason why Nebraska football's offense wasn't good last year was because of the lack of off-schedule plays, is a little much. I don't think Nebraska football being off schedule or not being efficient off schedule was the problem. I think Nebraska football's just inability to push the ball down the field was a major issue. I think Nebraska's football's identity being a screen throwing team was an issue. I think that having a very inexperienced quarterback the last couple of games was Nebraska offense's issue. I think that just at time inconsistent play calling from whomever was an issue. I mean, when they played Minnesota and Emmett Johnson was gaining momentum and having a couple of good runs and had that one long, quick little pass reception, and then they didn't give him the ball for like the rest of the drive and barely the rest of the game. I don't think that was because Dylan Raiola couldn't play off schedule. I understand that Anthony Calandria scrambling and making plays on a whim and making broken plays into positive plays is going to be something that he's very good at, and Nebraska football is going to benefit greatly from that. I understand that. But to suggest that the issue of Nebraska's offense was just because Dylan couldn't get out of the pocket and make off-schedule plays, I think is a little much. I think a lot of the problems lied with Dylan, but I think it was more so to do with his deep ball inaccuracy and just the fact that he just couldn't maneuver the pocket. Regardless, Dylan's problem wasn't as much as he couldn't get outside of the pocket. I just think Dylan did a bad job of moving within the pocket as it was. So I get it. I understand what they're trying to communicate. And I think it's great that they're empowering Calandria of hey, this is a skill that you have and this is what we want you to do. But to just kind of suggest that all the problems fell because on Dylan and his inability to move last year, when you were adamant that that was not the issue throughout the entirety of the season. I mean, I even saw a clip from it was 2 seasons ago in 2020. So it would have been 2024 when Matt Rule was talking about how the team has to raise their level to Dylan Raiola. That was in 2024. I mean, it clearly wasn't issues back then. I just don't love the retroactive coming back and saying, oh, that's something that we were so desperately missing. I mean, you were kind of missing it, but I think there are other issues that happened. I just think the inability to stretch the ball is probably number one on my list, but we will see. So coming up next, we got some more updates from the NFL to touch on. We'll touch on a little Creighton basketball as well. Don't forget, we're going to talk to Robin Washut at 1:20 to get his thoughts on Nebraska basketball's big win against Iowa. We're also going to rank the most important players of the Fred Hoiberg era. All that and more coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, things are shaking and moving in the NFL. Do you remember? So really, the dawn for Pablo Torre finds out wasn't this Kawhi Leonard Spire thing, okay? Pablo Torre finds out really got going on his reporting on the collusion case between the NFL Players Association and the owners.
That's
okay?
right, yeah.
Which has been decided, and it was a whole mess and everything like that. The owners ended up winning. And basically what was said, what Pablo Torre's findings is that teams were colluding because the Cleveland Browns gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed deal. Okay. And that's something in the collective bargaining agreement that teams fought against. They did not want to give fully guaranteed deals. And so if we're going to fight for it in the collective bargaining agreement, don't go ahead and do that on your contracts. And so teams were basically fighting. They were fighting with each other against this precedent. Okay. They were, according to Pablo Torre, they were colluding to not allow this to happen. Now, that got that whole case occurred and they found that they weren't colluding. But the point is that the Cleveland Browns deal to make Deshaun Watson's contract fully guaranteed pissed a lot of people off. Okay. And a lot of people were very mad at the Cleveland Browns for doing that because it caused this issue when it comes to negotiations. Not to the same degree, but the Las Vegas Raiders probably just did that when it comes to the center market. So Tyler Lindenbaum, the former now Baltimore Raven, is going to sign with the Las Vegas Raiders. The belief was that Tyler Lindenbaum was going to get about a $20 million deal, was going to get a little bit more than Creed Humphrey, who currently sets the center market at $18 million per year, which, by the way, behind Creed Humphrey, Cam Jurgens, $17 million per year.
Hello.
Hell yeah. Shout out. Former Husker. Tyler Lindenbaum has signed a 3-year, $81 million contract. $27 million per year is what Tyler Lindenbaum is now going to make. Wow. He is going to make $9 million more than the next center. He's going to make 50% more than the contract of Creed Humphrey, what he just signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, which insane, disgusting, gross overpay from the Raiders to Tyler Lindenbaum. But
kind of what they do.
But kind of a great pickup, for being honest. It was a terrible Las Vegas offensive line. It'd be great if I had Pro Football Focus, which I pay $120 for a year to have the subscription to tell you exactly where the Raiders ranked in terms of offensive line play this year. But because of John P. and his stupid PFF, I can't do that right now.
Dead to us.
Because I'm locked out. But the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line was absolutely terrible. We talked about the Kansas City Chiefs earlier in the show, who signed Kenneth Walker, a very good deal, picking up, a very good pickup for Kansas City. $14 million per year is a lot. But granted, only the first 2 years are guaranteed for the Chiefs to pay Kenneth Walker. $28 million of that is guaranteed in his contract. They were the 25th. They were 25th in rushing yards last season, total as a team. Do you know who was 32nd? The Las Vegas Raiders. Do you know who spent a top 10 pick on a running back last season? The Las Vegas Raiders. Do you know why Ashton Genty was a bust for a lot of people in fantasy football this year?
Ooh.
The Las Vegas Raiders offensive line.
Would you like their pass blocking or their run blocking?
I give me pass block first.
23rd.
And what was their run block?
32nd.
Yes. So there you go. So Tyler Lindenbaum, one of the best centers in the NFL, for $9 million more, which, by the way, people are good. I mean, yeah, people are going to be very upset. Very upset that the Las Vegas Raiders have grossly overpaid and completely messed up the center market. Because, let's see here. I'm trying to, who would be up next for a deal? So the next guy to be up for a deal here would be, Eagles have signed him through 2030. So I guess Eric McCoy for the Saints. He currently makes $12 million a year. He'll be a free agent not after next season, the season after. He's 29, so he probably won't get a great deal. Maybe Jared Wilson of the Patriots. who's going to be a free agent in 2029, or John Michael Schmitz for the Giants. He could maybe get it. I mean, I'm not going to act as if I know if these centers are great or not. I mean, I'm good at the NFL. I'm not that good at the NFL. But the center market just got a lot more expensive because of the Raiders and Mr. Tyler Lindenbaum. Also as well, Tyler Algier going to go to the Arizona Cardinals, take over that David Johnson role over there, if you will. Algier, a former 1,000-yard running back for the Atlanta Falcons, but Bijan Robinson is the RB1 over there for Atlanta. So a good little deal. I think he got $6 million a year, so not bad at all for Mr. Algier. So that is what's going around across the league. We do have a report in regards to Mike Evans. Apparently, as of right now, he is the favorite to land to the Chicago Bears.
Whoa.
So the Bears, according to Poly Market, where is that really real? Is the favorite to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneer and future Hall of Famer wide receiver Mike Evans. There's
just kind of thought he'd be in Tampa forever.
According to Underdog NFL, they have, 366,000 followers on Twitter. Teams have offered Mike Evans north of $27 million per year. According to Greg Allman as well, he's a Fox NFL reporter. That is confirmed that teams are offering Mike Evans north of $27 million. My goodness. Would I offer Mike Evans $27 million, Josh Hodson?
It doesn't seem like you
would. No, I would not. I'm not going to offer, and with all due respect, a 32-year-old wide receiver who only played 8 games last season. I understand every other season in his career he received over 1,000 yards. I get it. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best, Super Bowl champion. Unless you ask Jason McIntyre, then he would say that he never sniffed a Super Bowl, but we're not listening to J-Mac.
Imagine working with Cowherd.
Yep, imagine. Maybe not a terrible gig, if I'm being honest.
Probably pays pretty well.
Probably pays really well. I mean, I wouldn't have to go and eat $18 all-you-can-eat sushi on 78th and Cass if I was working with Colin Cowherd.
That's good stuff.
Probably be going to Yoshitomo, if you will. Or Koji.
Every night,
all the time. Anyway, we'll see where Evans ends up landing. It is now everybody's figuring out what we put together immediately was that there's a massive gap between Tyler Lindenbaum and the next center. Alrighty, I want to get your emails. I want to get your text. 402-951-1620. Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Matt at 1620 the zone. Josh O at 1620 the zone. That's the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. We'll also take these on Twitter. On the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. Our guy, Pesky Blues. Shout out.
Welcome to the family.
Welcome to the because we're family. The sponsorship is your family, Liquid Trucking. Protect it. Who are the top 5 most important players in the Fred Hoiberg era of Nebraska basketball? The top 5 most important players in the Fred Hoiberg era of Nebraska basketball. In 8 years now of Fred Hoiberg being the head coach of Nebraska basketball, they've only made the tournament technically once. Technically haven't made the NCAA tournament yet. It will be twice by the end of this year. Last season, nearly made it, was on the bubble until their hearts were broken by the Iowa Hawkeyes, who essentially retired, or who sent Bryce Williams and Juwan Gary home losers in their final game at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Who are the top 5 most important players of the Fred Hoiberg era? A bunch of pretty good candidates. I think 2 of those guys I just mentioned, Gary and Williams, would probably be on some people's list. Would Rink Masks be on your list for top 5 most important players of the Fred Hoiberg era? Can I interest you in Sam Griesel? Can I interest you in Emmanuel Bandabel? Can I interest you in Derek Walker, the OG? Keisei Tominaga, probably on a lot of people's list. Sam Hoiberg would definitely be on my list. Who are the top 5 most important players in the Fred Hoiberg era? 402-951-1620 is the number to call and to text if you so please. Matt at 1620 the zone. Josh O at 1620 the zone. I have my list. Now, it is important to say here that there has been a lack of overall success during Fred Hoiberg's tenure as Nebraska basketball's head coach. I mean, he's made the tournament less than 33% of the time. But there have been very important figures to come through here. And a lot of them built the foundation of the culture that allowed this team this year to win 26 games and 31 tries. Let that sink in. 26 wins for Nebraska football. Or Nebraska basketball. Probably 26 wins in like 6 years for Nebraska football. 26 wins. So who are your top 5 most important Nebraska Cornhuskers in the Fred Hoiberg era? I give you my list. Coming up next here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Alrighty. We're rolling. Good shooting.
just Josh Johnson.
You get that Monday. There's so much to talk about on a Monday.
So much to talk about. And there's been a ton to talk about today. Go back and listen to our radio replays. We've been breaking out NFL free agency. The legal tampering period has begun today. Deals are flying left, right, center. Kobe Bryant, former safety for Seattle, over to the Chicago Bears. Hell of a pickup for the Bears. Tyler Algier going to the Arizona Cardinals. Malik Willis going to the Dolphins. Alec Pierce staying in Indianapolis, going to be a Colt. His former wide receiver teammate, Michael Pittman, now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Interesting stuff.
Wan'Dale Robinson to my Titans.
Old friend alert,
That's
which, by the
right.
way, he got paid.
Oh, yeah?
Lord. 4-year deal, $70 million for Mr. Wan'Dale Robinson.
That's good for him.
Massive for the Kentucky Wildcats. What a development story by them. So there we go. We will keep you all up to date. We also did talk about Nebraska football a couple of segments ago. It's a quiet spring, and you know what? That's kind of normal. It happens a lot of places across the country. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. They want it to be quiet, and you don't mind it being quiet either, because frankly, it hasn't been quiet here the last couple of years, and people have been very, very sorely disappointed. And if people want to protect themselves from that, I totally don't disagree. We still have a great weekend of conference tournaments, NCAA tournament games that are going, well, NCAA tournament games next week, but this week, conference tournament games. We already have 6 teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament: Queens, North Dakota State, High Point, UNI, Tennessee State, and Long Island. It was a fun weekend of baseball, too. The WBC's been going on. Fernando Tatis Jr. just got called out at third base. Great throw there from the Israel catcher to get Tatis out, trying to steal third. The Dominican Republic up 8-1 in the top of the 7th right now in pool play, in Pool D of the World Baseball Classic. Also, great weekend for Nebraska baseball. Swept Michigan State over the weekend. So, hell of a win there. Big
Lopsided
win,
scores.
big
in
win.
that, one.
Well, yeah, the last one, they only played 7 innings yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday, Creighton baseball had a 6-1 lead over Gonzaga. They blew it.
They did.
Tied at 6, but then they ended up winning that game 7-6. I went to my first baseball game of the year. It was quite great. That new scoreboard out in left field.
She's a beaut.
She is a beaut. She's pretty.
Those ribbon boards, beautiful.
They actually have a new system, too, that people are really going to like. I'm assuming they're going to keep using it for the College World Series, but like how they tell you who's at bat and who's up next and everything like that. It's a pretty good digital setup that they got going at the Chuck this season for Creighton baseball. Picked up a good win yesterday against Gonzaga, the WCC favorite to win it in baseball. So very well could be an NCAA tournament team. They did lose to them in the second game of the doubleheader, the game prior. That's the one I went to. Bases loaded. I think nobody was out with the bases loaded. Only brought in 1 run. Could not tie or win the game at the Chuck for their home series opener. All right, I asked you before we hit a break before this segment, who are the top 5 most important players in the Fred Hoiberg era of Nebraska basketball? We're going to first go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 429511620. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Ted has his top 5. Ted, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, my friend. Hey, real simple. I mean, you got to start with the top 5 guys on this team now, but I think that if you were to take 1 or 2 off, you got to start with Bryce, and then you said Emmanuel, didn't you, from last year's team?
A couple years ago, Manuel Bandamel.
Yeah, Emmanuel. The reason is I mean, you need the one thing that's really holding these guys back is obviously a little bit of rebounding, and then if you could get somebody to rebound, I thought Manuel from a couple of years ago was a good defensive player, so you could replace, what is it, Bucknell? I can never his last name. You replace him, and you put Bryce on that team. You got a couple the basket.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you got Bryce and you got Manny. Okay. Yep. Anybody else?
And then you got Matt, and you got Bryce.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Sanford, and of course you can't leave Hoiberg off the team. So those would be my 5. And the biggest part of this is people forget, like Fred's first few teams, they were all individual players. There was no team basketball. That's what got him in trouble really early on.
I agree with that.
5-star kid he had, all he would do is come down the court and just shoot it. But they play together now on defense on both ends of the court. That's why they're winning.
Great call, Ted. I really appreciate it. If we were going just top 5 most important people in the Fred Hoiberg era in Nebraska basketball, I would tell you that Nate Lesnar would be at the top of the list, the assistant coach who helped establish that defense that Ted was talking about. And he brings up Bryce McGowan, who I don't think Bryce was, a big problem. Now, a guy you talk about dudes who just dribbled the ball and tried to make their own offense and weren't necessarily a part of a team. Alonzo Verge Jr. was the first person who came to mind who was a part of those under 500 Nebraska basketball teams. Let's start from top to bottom. Start with who I think is the most important player in Nebraska basketball. Who's the most important player for Nebraska basketball in the Fred Hoiberg era? It'd have to be Keisei. Now, Keisei really only had a season and a half of a real production. But I think it just can't be understated, like the phenomenon that Keisei Tominaga was, and like how Tominaga mania took over Lincoln and made it onto the Pat McAfee show and just put a lot of excitement into a fan base that desperately needed it, right? I mean, the Nebraska basketball fan base, in terms of the diehard Nebraska basketball fans, are some of the best fans I've ever interacted with. I mean, they love this team. And Keisei, his emergence came at a time where it was just a pretty low, if we're being honest, right? I mean, it was an okay team that they had. It wasn't a great team, but it was you were willing to watch Gary and Bandamel and Griesel, and it was fine, but it wasn't the best. And then Bandamel and Gary go down, and that kind of causes the offense to be, all right, Keisei, run around, we're going to get you the ball and fire off shots. Like, just go and shoot. Just go and shoot, man. He kept hitting him, and he just brought an excitement, an energy, a passion, and an interest. I mean, there were, the diehard Nebraska basketball fans were always there. But Keisei and his just electricity of how we just played basketball and that little run that they went on at the very end of that 2022 season, it brought a lot of just general interest to the team. And that's kind of when all these sellouts started to happen and how PBA became exciting, right? I was going to Nebraska basketball games, my freshman and sophomore year, where there was barely any people in the stands because it was bad. It was a bad product, and there wasn't a ton of likable guys on the team, and they just weren't very good. We go ahead, you put Keisei there, and they go on that run. It became, Keisei was must-watch basketball, and Nebraska basketball became appointment television for a lot of people. And then you parlayed that into Rink and Bryce and Keisei and Jawan and the run that they went on, 2 seasons ago where they make the NCAA tournament. And yeah, it sucked. They didn't win that game against Buzz Williams and Texas A&M, but still that run that they made at the end of 2022 and that run that they made in 2023 was massive for this program and put some juice and started that momentum that eventually led to where we are today. So Keisei, I'd put 1. I'd put Sam Hoiberg 2. I mean, it's more than, he is the most important player on this basketball team this season. Okay. What he does on both sides of the floor, spacing, ball handling, the assist to turnover ratio, what he brings on the defensive end. This guy's going to probably end up being at least an honorable mention for all Big Ten teams. Should probably get in on a third team, at least on the coaches poll. I think what Sam has done from just a complete basketball player from the regard of there just isn't one thing he's weak at. I mean, he's one of their best defensive rebounders on this team. And he's 5'10". I mean, he's listed as 6 foot, but I mean, I've talked to Sam plenty. We're basically the same height. I mean, it's ridiculous what he's accomplished and how much better and how much faster he's gotten too. Like off the dribble, Sam has taken massive strides to slash to the hoop and become a legitimate scorer. So I would put Sam 2. Rink Mask would have to be 3. I think Rink has had a weird year. Started off really hot, and then kind of cooled off around the time they got to Oregon and Northwestern and Washington, kind of cooled off in the Oregon, Washington slate a little bit. Hasn't really found his 3-point shot at maybe you were hoping, but still does enough to space the floor. I just think that if Fred Hoiberg is going to be, when Fred builds a successful team, his successful teams always kind of have that stretch 4, always have that guy who can, dominate in the paint and get you a bucket in there, but also can bring the defense out. That's what Rink does. And I don't think it's any coincidence that, he rejoins this team after the team disappointingly missed the NCAA tournament last year and they make a tournament again, right? He is going to make 2 NCAA tournament teams for this program. And it's just because the style of play is just perfect for what Fred wants to accomplish on the offensive end. Here's 4. He didn't go to an NCAA tournament, but you'll never forget the guys who were so watchable on unwatchable teams. And that's what Derek Walker was to this kind of iteration of Nebraska basketball. Like, he didn't go to an NCAA tournament, and I think his highest accomplishment was making the 3rd team of the Big Ten for Nebraska basketball. But like, Derek Walker just gave everything he possibly could to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Like, gave his blood, his sweat, his tears, played on this team, for 4 seasons, I think it was 3 or 4, but I mean, just helped establish a culture for Fred Hoiberg and helped kind of actually set the foundation for what this program could eventually be. And yeah, did he make an NCAA tournament? No. Was he, an all first team Big Ten? No, he wasn't. Was he massively important for just creating a product that people were interested in and playing really hard every night, and establishing that this is what it looks like to be a Nebraska Cornhusker? This is what it looks like to want to win for this team? Absolutely. 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 So I think that Derek Walker, while he, maybe not have gotten the contributions toward team success, individually set the standard for what Nebraska basketball ended up being, and was kind of that first guy. First guy through the wall is always bloody. Derek Walker was one of the first guys through that wall of like, this is what it looks like to be committed to this coach, and this is what it looks like to be committed to this roster, to this program, to this fan base, and laid the groundwork for what came to be. Number 5 on the 5 most important players in the Nebraska basketball era under Fred Hoiberg. I don't know. I think there's a lot of really good candidates. There's 3 that kind of come to mind. I think I would end up going Bryce because he's just the best player out of the 3, the only one so far, and Price is going to be the next guy who does this, to be an all Big Ten first teamer for Nebraska under Fred Hoiberg. I think Emmanuel Bandamel would be up there from a culture setting perspective. Fred Hoiberg talked a ton about Sam Griesel and how much Sam brought to a culture perspective and foundational perspective to the team. I think that Ted, went ahead. He said that he would put Price on his top 5 because of what he's done this season. I don't think that's a bad shout either. I would go with Bryce just because he did it for 2 seasons, and definitely one of the more successful transfer portal acquisitions and developments that Nebraska basketball's had. But I would say solidly Casey 1, Sam 2, Rink Mass 3, Derek Walker 4. And I think it's just the best story out of all of that is Sam Hoiberg. The fact that guy had to come on and was looked at as the walk-on coach's son who couldn't really travel with the team his freshman year, who turned into one of the more important players on one of the best teams, not only just in the Big Ten, but in the country. And be real with you, Josh Hodson, things got real sticky with Fred and whether or not it was going to work out in Nebraska. I mean, things got real uncomfortable, through multiple seasons. And at one point he had to renegotiate his contract to essentially stick around and to continue to have his job. And his son, Sam Hoiberg, and his performance and him being a captain, along with another guy in this list, Rink Mask, leads them to being one of the best stories in all of college basketball. And Fred Hoiberg firmly in the driver's seat to be not only just the Big Ten Coach of the Year, but the National Coach of the Year, and hell of a win yesterday against Iowa heading in to the Big Ten tournament. Coming up next, we talk to somebody who was there for that game, was there for that big win. It's Mr. Robin Washut of On3 and Husker Online coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
For the second time in the Fred Hoiberg era in Nebraska, for Nebraska basketball, they will be dancing in the month of March. Will it be a 2 seed or will it be a 3 seed? Maybe we will find out depending on how they do in the Big Ten tournament. One person I know who for sure will be in Chicago at the United Center to see it all go down is joining our show here next, Mr. Robin Washut of Husker Online and On3. Robin, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How, I just got to ask in general, how has this season been for you? The regular season finally over, 31 games in the books, 26 wins, Robin. How has this been? Because we talk about, I think that the OG Nebraska basketball fans are some of the best fans in the athletic department. I mean, there are some ride or die Nebraska basketball fans who I'm so happy for them, and I know plenty of them in my life. And you are one of the OG Nebraska basketball beat writers. How's this been for you? I mean, you've been everywhere. You've been in LA and Iowa City and Columbus and Chicago. I mean, just how's this journey been?
Unprecedented in pretty much every respect. It's been first pretty much every step of the way. Looking through the program record book for actual good records as opposed to worst loss since, longest losing streak since, worst conference finish since. So it's been fun in that regard where you get to look at some different pages in the record books because Nebraska's, setting new goals new records and raising the bar pretty much every single time they play in what has been a season certainly unlike anything I've ever covered. I mean, it's been rare where you enter March and it's not a matter of, does Nebraska have to win the Big Ten tournament to get to NCAA, or how many games do they have to win in the conference tournament to make the big dance? And so it's just all this kind of new discussion about not if they're going to make it, but how high of a seed can they be, and can they get a double bye, triple bye in the conference tournament? So just kind of all this new discussion at this time of year that in the now 18 seasons I've been covering this team, I've never had to do or never gotten to do. So it's been kind of a wild ride, a lot of firsts, and for the first time in a long time, the good has far surpassed the bad.
Yeah, I did not think at the beginning of the season that you and I would be having a conversation about would a win over Purdue and Michigan State be enough to make them a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like I did not anticipate that being a talking point, but it's been a hell of a journey for Fred Hoiberg. Gets a contract extension today. You did a great job of posting the details of that extension, and then also the added incentives, right? Of if they were to go far in the NCAA tournament, what dollar amounts would he get? I mean, just talk about that journey in general. Like, the guy had to restructure his contract not too long ago to, in order to basically keep his job, to now he's extended for the future. I mean, how, maybe not unprecedented, but how remarkable has this journey for Fred Hoiberg been, to going from a guy of, I don't know how much longer is he going to be here for, to he's going to be the national coach of the year?
Yeah, and kind of just speaks to, in some cases, patience pays off, and the willing to, make some sacrifices for, a long-term plan can be the right call in an era where everybody just wants quick fixes and immediate results. Sometimes good things come to those who wait. And I think this is a situation where it paid off for Nebraska. And, I know there's a lot of people that have their certain level of criticisms for Trev Alberts, and deservingly so, but to his credit, he's the one that decided not to pull the plug on Fred when a lot of other ADs would have.
Yeah.
And credit to Fred for, kind of having the humility to not let his ego say, there's no way I'm taking a pay cut. You're going to pay me everything I'm owed, and I'm going to go coach somewhere else. He wanted to be here, and Nebraska wanted to keep him. And the fact that they were actually able to come to an agreement during some pretty difficult circumstances to keep this thing going clearly has resulted in what we're watching right now, where they were able to keep the group together. And Fred, like I said, not only did he, sacrifice some money to stay here, but he kind of revamped his plan and approach to roster management, and changed up his staff, and it was able to kind of go a direction that I think is far more suited to success, not just in this landscape of college basketball, but in the Big Ten in particular. And they've really kind of reshaped the culture and the identity of this program to where it's not just they're playing well, but they're a team full of players that everyone can rally around. And there's a lot of easy guys to root for on that roster. And Fred has made himself an extremely easy coach to cheer for. And so I think all that does kind of align the stars for Nebraska basketball to, really become the program that it was. But it came with some sacrifice along the way, both, from Nebraska to an extent, and certainly from Fred. But patience paid off, and that kind of long-term commitment on both ends has led to a pretty fruitful year 7 for him.
Who's the most important player in the Fred Hoiberg era in Nebraska basketball? Who's been the most important player that's played under Fred Hoiberg?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think that conversation to me starts with the 22-23 team. And there's the obvious names that always get thrown out with Greasel, Bandimal, Walker. They were kind of the foundation guys that really got things going, and then kind of passed that torch to Gary and Bryce Williams. Casey certainly, got kind of Nebraska on the national spotlight. But it's hard for me not to point to the guy that has been the constant throughout that period, and that's Sam Hoiberg.
Yeah.
His senior night or day was unlike any I've seen at Nebraska. And a lot of that too is because guys are only here for 2 or 3 years anymore. So this is a 5th-year guy that, played at Pius and, kind of was technically an in-state kid who I think earned as much respect and fandom with just the way he approaches the game, the way he carries himself with the fan base, in the media, and really with everything that he does, and just how much he kind of personifies everything that Nebraska fans want their basketball program to be about. And, he's a guy that his story is really fun to look back on, in the sense that, he was a walk-on that basically had to convince his dad to let him get a walk-on spot.
Yeah.
And, arrived on campus having to prove himself every step of the way. To try to shed the stigma of being the coach's kid who was just handed a roster spot and, whatever. This is, kind of a silver spoon type situation. Sure. And he's certainly, I think, not only shed that stigma, but, created a legacy for himself where he's going to go down as one of the all-time favorites. Just the amount of cheers and love that he got throughout his senior day and really throughout this entire season has shown just the impact he's made on the fan base, on the university, and certainly on Nebraska basketball. And so, like, when you talk about importance, like, he's the guy that's been here and helped establish the culture to what it is now over the last 5 years. And his, obviously he's got the profile because of his last name, but it's because of the every single day work that he puts in and has put in for 5 straight years that has gotten him into that platform to where he has that profile. So, there's a lot of guys that helped build this thing to what this season has become. But again, the one guy that's been there through it all is Sam Hoiberg. And I think yesterday kind of was the best example yet of all that he means to Nebraska basketball and its fans.
So, and by the way, I agree with you. I mean, I had on my list, I put Casey 1 just because of what you brought up, right? The national spotlight that he brought to Nebraska, and the fact that he, I think you can speak on this pretty well. Like back in like 2021, that 2022 season with like Bryce McGowan's and Alonzo Verge, like PBA was not what PBA is now. Like it was dead. I mean, there were very few, there were a lot of open seats for those games. And then I think Casey, and you're right, it starts with that 2022-2023 team with Manny Bando and Derek Walker and Sam Greasel, and then Casey coming on. That's what really sparked this entire thing and the run that they've been on. But I have Sam Hoiberg second, like for the reasons you mentioned. He was there the entire time. He's become a pillar, the heart and soul of this basketball program, and then a captain. Let's talk about the postseason outlook here. The Big Ten tournament in Chicago, going to get a double bye. Still a great stat, Robin. The entire time that Nebraska basketball has been in the Big Ten, they've either been a bottom 4 or top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Nowhere in between, which is quite wild. They have a double bye playing on Friday against more than likely Purdue, who is the 10th team in the net ranking, and then the winner of that game would more than likely play Michigan State. Those would be, so Nebraska's got 9 quad 1 wins, but they don't have as many maybe quad 1A wins, which is kind of a newer thing we've seen this season with tiering those quad 1 wins. Could those 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament between Michigan State and Purdue, do you think that could inch them and just have them sneak into a 2-seed line, or do you think they're going to need some more help?
It could. Certainly wouldn't hurt. What I wonder, though, is as much as the selection committee insists that they take conference tournaments into consideration, like how much of the bracket is already done by the time Nebraska will even play Purdue.
Sure, sure.
They try to say that, like, especially the conference championship game, like, oh yeah, we take that into account, but like there's been like instances where, what was it, when Michigan won it, they won the Big Ten tournament and like we're like a 5 seed or something like that. So like, I don't know if the bump for a conference tournament success is as great as some people might think. I think a lot of that bracket is pretty much set in stone, and unless something like crazy happens, which now here's the thing, here's the caveat to that. If Nebraska goes on a 3-game run where you beat Purdue, Michigan State, and Michigan and win a Big Ten tournament title,
come on.
Yeah, you probably should bump up a seed line.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Goes without saying. But, you know, the odds of that happening, I don't know. We'll see. But I guess we can cross that bridge when we get there. But, you know, if they're one and done in Chicago, or if they win a game in Chicago, I don't know how much it actually impacts Nebraska's seeding. I think right now they're in a pretty good spot for a 3 seed. And as of the way things stand right now, I think Oklahoma City is a very likely destination for them. So a 3 seed in Oklahoma City, kind of like, you know, it's one of the ideal placements for them, just from a fan perspective. So like that's kind of a win in itself. And that's what made that Iowa game so important, where you didn't have to try to put yourself in the situation to make up ground in the Big Ten tournament. Now for me, like this next week is all kind of icing on the cake, where you have the opportunity to potentially, you know, go on a crazy run and vault yourself up maybe even higher up the seed list. But if you lose, I don't know if you're really punished at all, because you're losing neutral site quad 1A games at any given matchup with that projected path. So Nebraska's in a good spot, I think, a unique spot certainly going into this, where like they really are not dependent on anything in Chicago. Like this is all just kind of cherry on top stuff that can only help them, and there's really not a lot that I think that will hurt them in Chicago. I mean, albeit like unless they lose by like 30 or something like that, and maybe some of the brackets hadn't been set. But if that happens, then I guess, you know, Nebraska kind of made its own bed. I don't see it happening, and I think Nebraska is going to be in a good spot regardless of any outrageous outcomes in that first round game.
One last question here before we let you go. Robin Washington, Husker Online on 3, real quickly. You worried about number 5 at all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think what you worry about is him just getting his emotions in check. Braden's an emotional kid. He always has been. You go back to high school, I mean, that's just kind of who he is. And keep in mind, he's still a younger kid. He's like essentially the age of a true freshman right now, even though he's been in the program for 2 years. And what needs to happen with Braden is he's got to find a way to not wear his feelings on his sleeve the way that, you know, he has at times this year. And it's been for good and bad. Like, you know, you see the emotions when he's feeling good, and, you know, got him a technical and a public apology for, you know, the Jeremy Fears incident. And then there's been other instances where, you know, he's kind of feeling sorry for himself after a poor performance. I look at it more not as his kind of reflection of his feelings about Nebraska. I think that was more of a reflection of him being upset at his own play and the fact that, Nebraska basically took him out of the game because he missed a couple defensive assignments. And, he's a guy that takes it really hard. And the thing is, you can take it hard, but you got to hide it until you're not in front of 15,000 people with cell phones that are going to take pictures of you and post them on the internet. And then suddenly everybody's like, the latest example of, is Braden going to transfer?
Yeah.
Like talking with people that know him well, they kind of chalk it up to him just being kind of a, still a bit of an immature young adult that has got to figure out how to keep those emotions in check. And so you don't want to completely stifle it because emotion is what makes Braden Frager good, but also that you got to have that line where you can't let frustration put yourself in a situation like that where you're kind of throwing gas on a fire of people thinking, is he going to transfer or not?
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier in the show. It's crazy how we flipped from, wow, this guy's, has brought a spark to Nebraska basketball off the bench. Like he makes them a legitimate Elite Eight, Final Four contender. He made that bucket at the end of the Ohio State game, bucket at the end of the Michigan State game. Like he's trending and being like one of the better stories in the country too. Now there's a picture of him like away from the huddle, and people are like, "Oh, he's going to look great in a Kentucky uniform next year." It's just kind of crazy how that's all flipped, especially since that Washington injury.
Yeah, I think you just got to keep in mind that this is an individual who, like I said, puts his emotions out there for everybody to see, for better or worse, and that's like something that I think he's got to really work on going into this off season. Because if assuming he is back, which I fully expect that he is, he's going to have probably about as prominent of a role in that lineup, maybe next to anybody but Price Sanford. And so, like, he's got to not only just understand that he's got a great opportunity ahead of him, but that with that profile comes a lot of responsibility. Where you can't be this up and down guy. You got to watch how Sam Hoiberg carries himself, how Price carries himself, how Rink carries himself. And so I think the good thing with Braden is, like, right now he's got a lot of really good examples around him for him to follow and model himself after. And, he's in his hometown. I think he's got a lot of good people around him that are going to give him good advice and help keep him, on the right track. So he's a young kid that still has some growing up to do, and just in terms of handling that matured or the emotions. But I'm not freaking out about him being frustrated about himself playing poorly in a game that he wanted to play well in.
Mr. Washit, you're the man. We really appreciate you. This has been a awesome season, and we appreciate you always coming on and giving us all the insights in and around the program. You're the man. We will talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Matt. See you later.
Yep. Read between the lines there, by the way, of Robin saying feels pretty confident Braden will be back, and then he'll have a prominent role next to who? Who's he going to have a prominent role next to? Price Sanford. Or is Price coming back? I don't know. Maybe read between the lines. Robin Washit, always keeping us on our toes. Do you know who does that better than Robin, though? No one does it better than this guy. It's Josh Hodson. He's going to tell you what to watch. Coming up next as we wrap up Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey folks, is your concrete in need of repair? Kent Pavelka here to talk about your local concrete experts and a best of Omaha winner, Everlevel Concrete Repair. They can completely restore and
Great weekend of sports that occurred. Softball for Nebraska. Softball got on the board. Big win in the Big East tournament for Jim Flannery and his Creighton women's basketball team, who then lost and ended their season against UConn, who's an absolute wagon. Nebraska baseball got a sweep. Creighton baseball picked up good series against Gonzaga. A lot of fun things happened. Nebraska basketball picked up a win, and Creighton basketball got a help by the Butler Bulldogs. We also, hey, real quick before we tell you what to watch tonight, we want to let you know that we're giving out tickets this whole week to Hardy in his country tour in the Metro. He's coming to the CHI Health Center on March 21st. We will be giving out tickets on Middays with Matt tomorrow to that show, so don't forget to tune in for that. We also want to let you know, too, that you can go and see the Omaha Supernovas in action. Don't forget to listen to Happer and Schaefer all week for a chance to win your way to the game. They play this Saturday, March 14th at 7 p.m. at the Chai. So that should be a ton of fun. Mr. Josh Hodson, what do we got going?
We got tonight not the 3 best words in sports, but 3 of maybe the most fun words in sports. Dirty bid Steelers.
Okay, all right. I love this.
Sunbelt Championship game. Number 1 Troy takes on number 10 Georgia Southern. 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Eagles trying to win their 6th game in as many days.
Wow.
Against number 1
My
Troy.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
Lord.
in the SoCo Championship, SoCon, number 1 Eastern Tennessee takes on number 6 Furman at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Big East Championship game in the on the women's side. Villanova takes on that wagon that Matt mentioned, UConn, 6 o'clock on Peacock, or you can listen to it right here on 1620 The Zone. NBA, just a 5-game slate tonight. Doubleheader on Peacock. Nuggets Thunder at 6:30, followed by Knicks Clippers out west. Also, a 5-game slate in the NHL tonight. All of it's on ESPN Plus. Matt's Blackhawks host the Utah Mammoth.
Yes,
and I just wanted to remind people that the Utah Mammoth are a team.
Yes, they are.
World Baseball Classic, 7 games today, including USA taking on Mexico. 7 o'clock on Big Fox. Both teams 2-0. Paul Skeens makes his Team USA World Baseball Classic debut. Also, sneaky good game in Puerto Rico tonight, 6 o'clock on FS1. Puerto Rico hosts Cuba.
Nice, Cuba.
And Top Chef, 8 o'clock. Bravo.
Hell yeah.
Season 23 premiere. We're in the Carolinas this year, and the chefs visit the Charlotte Motor Speedway to kick it off.
Okay, fun. I'm more of a Master Chef guy, but Top Chef, good for them. Kind of like the super cuts, if you will, of the cooking.
There's a take,
world.
Matt.
I know, it's very mid. Let's go ahead and first off, we want to let you know that there's a lot of great contests going on 1620thezone.com. There's like 7 different concerts that you can enter to win, which include Joe Coy, George Thorogood, the Black Keys, who will be in Omaha, the Young Giant, who will also be in Omaha, Chris Stapleton in the All-American Road Tour in October at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Make sure you go to 1620thezone.com and you can enter into those contests with a chance to win. Dirty bid stealers is what Josh Otson talked about. Now, we'll have some more bid stealers potential when we get to the Power Conference matchups that will happen later in the week. I'm going to go ahead and let's take Detroit Mercy tonight playing Robert Morris, the 3-seed Detroit Mercy taking on Robert Morris plus 180 in their game tonight.
Have mercy.
Have mercy on all of us, Josh Odson. What a great show today. Hit all the bases, talk a lot of Husker football in the NFL, what's still going on. Everybody's signing everybody in the NFL right now. So much fun. We are going to have
Mike Evans to the Niners.
I know. Pretty good. Do we have details on that deal? I just saw that he went there.
I'm
We're getting
sure
to
they're
the
out
point
there.
where it's just like we are moving way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. But won't be moving too fast because the crossover. That's coming up next with Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620.